Green screen.
Welcome, guys, to the segment where you choose what we talk about every day. You'll be able to vote from 11 to 150 for the tickers, the top 5 that you want the big kahunas, Neil and Sean, to discuss every day between 2 to 2:20. So make sure you're getting your vote in. Otherwise, you're not going to have your say. Let's have a look at what the futures are doing. Definitely off those lows. We were watching that 18.5 break on the NQ. 450 right now is where we're on the triple Q, so we'll see if the recovery can continue. It was a big move down after opening up nicely up this morning. All right, the number 1 ticker requested by you guys, and really no surprise here, GameStop moving up big overnight as Roaring Kitty reveals his huge position in the name, and that had everybody talking this morning, and the big kahunas were all on it. What's the look, guys, on GME?
So by now, I'm going to make the assumption that everybody knows what happened, over over Roaring Kitty, DFV, whatever you want, Keith Gill, all of the, real name Keith Gill and all the different aliases. The massive position, and not just the actual shares, but the call buying as well with, I want to say it was the 21st expiry of those $20 calls I believe he had. So look, at the end of the day, that was the big news. There is a new piece of information because Andrew Left has placed a short bet apparently on GME. Wow. So I guess you got a little bit of a battle in there. I mean, Andrew Left of Citron with a short bet. And I don't know where that bet got put in, whether that's today, maybe it was before. I'm not sure exactly when, but you don't always get to find out. When you get these short sell reports or these short sellers, usually you don't end up finding out exactly where they're in. At least every now and then, you'd know pretty much. Sometimes you can get an idea based on the chart, but I think in this case, who knows? That said, it's been a weak day for GameStop. Up 34%, it's hard to say that. But it gapped up and then immediately broke that gap and then filled it in, at least a decent portion of it right at the open. So you were gapped up big into the 39, 40 range. There were some decent scalp trading opportunities in there. Probably didn't do that enough, trying to hold for bigger winners, and ended up being, I say, not just a downfall, but a mistake, because it gave you just be in and out, dollar, with a tight stop at the bottom. This is not a short. I was covering a long position before the thing halted, and then I tried one more off the reopen at 35, and then we started waiting for the 30 level to hold. It's got a double bottom at 28, but you're still 28 to 32 has been the range. It's definitely waking up, but I would say this, as much as GameStop is waking up, it's about $4 off of the bottom. And you look over at the cohorts, you've had a little bit of a wake in AMC back into VWAP, and then a similar thing got me back into BlackBerry. Any weakness in GameStop, and I'm already in this one off of VWAP, and I think it's an opportunity to short the other two. The story was a GameStop story. Whether or not Andrew Left put this short in or not, the same situation is still here. I mean, shorts need to cover. You need to break out this 32 level. There was a couple of wicks above it. But if you start seeing a bit over 32 and then a break of this 34 level, then the real fireworks could start this afternoon. But those are two big levels GameStop has to chew through. And as I said, I'd short the other two if I see weakness at those levels as opposed to GameStop. I wanted to treat GameStop as a stock I was going long, and BlackBerry or AMC, which didn't happen in AMC, as the stocks that I want to go short in on any reaction base.
All right, we're still long right now, 250 in the money on GameStop, so this is going to be a good trade for us. We still have that same trade from the morning. It came back in, and I was actually bidding. Well, actually, I should be bidding it right now. Yeah, 27.65. How low did we get there? I was bidding 27.50, I guess. Yeah, so right there. So it's 27.75. I'm bidding still right here from the morning this order. So 27.65. The lowest we got was 27.75. So we did miss a reload, but look how good this looks on the chart. I mean, I feel like we're trying to get higher. I still think a VWAP test is likely. I shouldn't say likely. That's what I'm looking for. We could have just got out at 32 for $3 or so, but let's just wait to see what does happen. We're long at 28.50. I mean, I like the stock here at these levels. We talked about it before I knew anything about Roaring Kitty. We talked about how much we liked it down here at 20 bucks, enough to make it the trade of the week. And if you were able to get some of that this morning, you would have been out of the money, because the only trade of the week is to buy any of the dips right now, which would be right where we're long. So yeah, I feel like we got it at a good spot here. I'd love to be able to hold this all week, but unfortunately, this will have to come out before the end of the day. Let's see if we get a last second run up here near EOD. So I really like GameStop, and it's on the sticky note. It was kind of an obvious trade there, but it'll be my worst P&L name because we don't have any winners. I mean, just straight downside, boom, 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 boom. Like I said, no winners here for GME unless I take it right now. We have a winner now. It's 250 in the money, but I'm going to wait to see if we can get a little bit higher than where we are right now. That's GameStop, and it has been a pretty boring stock today, needless to say.
All right, guys, next on the list is Tesla, down 1%. No real significant headline for this one, but there was this headline. So back in March, JP Morgan had their tech conference, and Elon was one of the attendees, and it looks as if him and Jamie Dimon made up at that time, ending the decade-long, feud between the guys. Obviously not market moving and didn't really seem to affect Tesla stock, at least positively, guys. What was your look on Tesla?
All right. Tesla is, we talked about this earlier. It's going to be a big trade, and it's going to be your number one trade today. Just longs. I mean, longs early. We put it on the sticky note that we really liked 180. We did prefer dip buys. We wrote down 174 if that had come in. I mean, we had closed on Friday. We had a huge move up at the end of the day right there to close at 178. But before then, we'd bounced around 175 with that very bottom being 174. Without having that crystal ball and knowing what was coming here for Tesla, look how good that was again. I wasn't just sitting here again. Like I can't just be here throughout the whole time. I got to go out, have a little bit of a walk around. But that was 174.50. We should. If you're part of Sticky Note Nation, you have to be long down there. We weren't. We're sitting here. We'll wait again. But that's a great long for Tesla. It's going to be your PL1. We did drop out once it came back into pre-market lows. So we did try to buy 179 before getting out. That's our only losing trade. Right into there, right when it came. And it would have worked. But there's a huge drop in right into that level. Oh, man, sometimes going around and clearing your head, you miss these trades. But right there, 174.50, no-brainer long. Congratulations if you got it. Shout out to everybody that's part of Sticky Note Nation. This should be your number one stock today.
Yeah, it did actually reject the same high as last week as well, which is interesting on Tesla, 182, 70 or so. So I feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity. The bottom for me was 173. I was going to stop any long on a dip into 173 even, so it needed to be much closer. We talked about this in the morning. I felt like it had to get down there, and every single day last week, you really got all the way either breaking 174 by a few cents or breaking it in gusto with 173 as your bottom, and you're still right there. So the stock is really respecting this 50 period and this nice sideways action that you're seeing off these lows. That said, it's making lower highs into that same bottom. At some point, you're going to run into, either it's going to break out this local top at 183, maybe the 185, or we're just going to end up taking that 170 to the bottom. So if we get there this afternoon, I like 173. We didn't quite get there today, but you are seeing some pressure on this bounce in Tesla, because I can't remember the last time I saw Tesla with the same support level at a 50 period like this for this long. So you got to figure this is going to get really spicy if we actually test the 170 level. Not there yet today, but it did come pretty close. No execution for myself. It just didn't quite get close enough to the 73 for me.
Big news coming out overnight with NVIDIA and with AMD as well, but we'll start with NVIDIA first. A new GPU, an AI-specific GPU being developed here by the name of Rubin. That's only 3 months after the launch of Blackwell, which is expected to deliver and ship later this year. So yeah, it moved up nicely yesterday. I was watching it on Blue Ocean, but today, kind of sideways, guys. I don't know. Did you guys trade NVIDIA?
I had a trade in NVIDIA. I mean, AMD's right after. Yeah, we got NVIDIA and AMD.
Yeah,
I guess
AMD's going to be a good
yeah,
one.
not much of a surprise there. But no, I did have a trade in NVIDIA.
AMD was good.
It just, I didn't find anything after that. So like it did a breakout at the open, and I was looking for dips either into 11 or 11.25 off the open. So you're going to pretty much see there was nothing but a breakout through the pre-market highs right away. There was no monster dip here to be had. So it got to resistance, pulled back in. At that point, I just looked at that initial range. So, there's your 930 top. It dipped back in, it held it. So I went into the long, scalped to the high with a stop underneath, and made that one trade. I was looking to hold the rest for a move into 11.5. 11.55 has been the top, but it just never happened. And if I had been looking short, we always talk about this. Like sometimes if you have I was looking short at 11.50. You guys probably know that from last week. We're taking shorts if it breaks 11.50. So I thought it was strong enough to get there. It ends up putting in this 11.40 as like a triple top. At this point, it looks a little bullish into this. It would be easy to say, yeah, well, you can just short that now. But the market's negative on the day. At the lower high level, this is above VWAP and looking pretty strong. So I don't like the idea of shorting it off of the morning range. If anything, I'd like to catch this one if it can start breaking out above that morning high. No guarantee that it happens, but NVIDIA is in the relatively strong bucket today. So yeah, it was kind of it wasn't a big trade. At the end of the day, it was a winning trade, but the bigger trade, I suppose, should have been a down at 11.25. You go dip buy hunting on that. That's your better shot, but I'm not shorting it this afternoon.
Look, Sam, you said it right here. The boss of all bosses is NVIDIA. Yeah, we should have probably just been trading NVIDIA. Look, I have to say, I don't know how many viewers we have here, and she doesn't know this, but there's only 3 positive traders on the floor today, and Adara is one of them. So I just got to say, as far as trying to pass around, you can clap, Patrick. You don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about what people tell you. There it is, a nice move down for Amazon right now. But no, seriously, I just want to say big shout out to Adara. Right there. So we anointed Obi as the chosen one, and now we'll do that with Adara. So congratulations, Adara. Keep it going right there. I was looking over. I thought maybe you traded NVDL, but you had not. All right. So right now we're going to talk about AMD soon, but right there, NVIDIA. Yeah, this is the boss, man. I mean, you don't even have to go anywhere near anything else. If you just traded this either to the long or to the short, lots of opportunities here today. 11.40, great trade right there, and then the bottom down here at 11.30. So I mean, there's been a lot of trading to go with NVIDIA. You just had to believe in whatever position that you did have on. And very choppy early, then there's the break. So if you're looking for a break, you had it. You had a great trade break, and then to be able to buy the dip at 11.20, 11.25, 11.30 have been levels we've talked about. So, good dip zones there. Obviously, the way it's an $1,100 stock, you're gonna have to give it a little bit of room. But NVIDIA right now, nice play all day, whether or not you were long or short. Take the 11.40, take the 11.20, $20 worth of room in the middle right there. And again, shout out to partner in crime on the Market Recap Show, Miss Adara.
All right, number 4 on the list here, Advanced Micro Devices releasing, as NVIDIA did overnight, a huge swath of GPUs going all the way into 2027 for AI. Not really the response you would have anticipated, down 2.8% here on the release of these GPUs, guys. I heard a lot about AMD on the morning show. What was the look?
I didn't try. I had one trade in AMD. I liked it to a long trade. We'll get to some. The market's actually moving into the downside here, so I'm short Micron, and we'll get to that one in a little bit. But look, I like the 167 level. At least I was patient about it. That's about the best we can do because I could have shorted it. I'm not one for reversing usually here, but when you look back, it's that could have been a reverse. I went to ARM, I went to Micron instead, but it bounced at that one level. I took 2 shots at it, not one. So this and GameStop are my 2 worst stocks. I got rinsed on a buyout today. That's my worst stock. But in terms of momentum trading, stuff that we do in front of you, those are my 2 worst ones. It is what it is. And I knew AMD was going to be there at that level. What I liked about it was how ridiculously strong it had been on Friday. That was one of those things. It was a crazy move. The thing I'm short now, outside of Google, was just VWAP on Micron. So Micron at VWAP, we had it for lower highs, but then it did this wick, at VWAP, and I caught it right back through at exactly $127 essentially back in. We'll see if it can hold on to this 125 that's been the bottom. But the chips are starting to come back down. They all look relatively weak.
Oh, yeah.
With the exception of NVIDIA, I would say. Like, NVIDIA is pretty much the strongest one. But they're all starting to come in. Google as well. But, ooh, I got a 172 about to fill.
All right, here we go, guys. And we're starting to make some money now. We just talked about going short on everything. And, yeah, it's... Today was the day. I know Neil mentioned not reversing. I think we both had. He had the 167. We went 168 long and lost, and then just banged it to the downside. Unfortunately, we did have the short at 168. Our best cover is just 164.50. Yeah, there's a little chicken dinner winner for you there, Sharif. Yeah, just great trading there on AMD. You had to have sort of the wherewithal to reverse that. That was a good trade back in through. So nice move down for AMD today. This stock just has been an amazing vehicle to trade when you get it the right way. On Friday, it completely ran us over to the short side. Now today, it is the short. So good move back in, to have held that great. But we did have that huge follow right here. All the way down. So we went from 167 down to 164 in a matter of like 20 minutes. So the move back there, we just got out once it broke 164.50, which turned out to be okay. We could have reshorted up there again. So I'm not hating on my out there, just hating maybe on the potential non-reload right now. Let's see how low we can get here on the TQs as we're shorting the futures. Just a bunch of covers in there. Let's see if we can get back into 61.50, 61.60 or so. For the futures, it looks like GameStop pulling back in as well. Just a nice move off of 32. So, I mean, maybe 32 is the most that it's going to get to right there. So, yeah, we'll look. Yeah, GME short looks like that's the right one there so far here today. If you've been short GME, you're probably having a month. So, nice job on Amazon coming back in. We'll talk about Dell right now.
That's right, Sean. Dell last on the list, and another tough day for Dell. It's been really down and to the right since it reported earnings last week. 5 2/3 right now is a little bit deeper, almost 6%. This analyst coming out with an 87% accuracy rate, basically seeing 26% upside from where Dell is currently trading here. We know that they really have been riding that AI data center story. Jensen pointing out to Michael Dell by hand at the NVIDIA conference there a few months ago. So good look for Dell this year, but tougher on the day. Did you guys look at Dell?
Did not.
No, well, actually, the only time I looked at Dell, we just got to be honest about it. I didn't trade Dell today. There was a question this morning. Someone had actually asked about Dell. I pulled it up and just gave a few thoughts on it. But that was on the old long term. Like, would I be buying the dip? And we always talk about this post earnings. Like, does it find a bottom? Can it hold a support level? This morning, the answer had been no, because it broke Friday's bottom. But then look at this. It broke Friday's low, and immediately bounced off 130 after that. So there's okay, above 130. You got underneath 130 to 128.5, and then regained that 130 level with a 131 bottom. So if you look at it on the daily, this would be a test of the 50 period at 130. You get a close today above 130 if, it's an if. I'm only short right now, so I guess I can't say that I'm betting the market's going up today. But if it does hold the 50 period today, holds another double bottom tomorrow, I'm going to be looking for loss. I just want to see it hold the same level a couple of days in a row. I think you could loosely say it maybe did today. I'm not completely convinced. And with the market looking weak, I don't know that that's the timing just yet. But we always talk about these potential gap fills back. Whether or not it fills back into 170 in the short term, if it holds 130 another day, there's room into this 147. Like, that's $15 worth of room. I think you can start looking for that if it can hold one more day at 130. Things have hopefully calmed down a bit here for Dell. Part of the story is going to be just how strong the stock was, but it's respected the 50 period for over a year now. It wouldn't surprise me one more day here, start looking for some longs on Dell. Just not today.
So right there, thank you to Bears vs. Bulls for getting Streamlabs open. Again, we just took down 5,000 points. So thank you for that, and that's fun. Go join that hashtag spin. We won 1,000 and then 5,000. So good little run there for us. All right, so yeah, Dell. I like Dell. I think that some of their talk there, again, it's just they had a good quarter. It was too too hyped up already. So Dell had a huge run up. Definitely, you know, talking all about the servers, talking about NVIDIA and just some of the connections there. But back in, it says 3 days, so I think you could probably buy Dell. So it's at the 50-period moving average. It's already sort of given it all, I mean, I don't want to say it all back. I mean, it's only, you know where it's back to? 2 weeks ago. So I don't want to panic here and be like, oh my God, there's a big, huge problem with Dell. It's just their quarter was not as good as everyone had thought it would be. So nice move to the downside there for Dell. And I think a 50-period buy makes sense. I think the super cycle for the iPhone is in, and I think super cycles for computers are in as well. So I would be buying Dell, and tonight you're going to get another name coming through, HPE. I don't know if it's tonight or soon, but you're going to have Hewlett-Packard coming through tonight as well to have a quick look at that. So we'll see if that comes through. And yeah, we got CrowdStrike this week, a couple of good ones there.
GitLab's tonight.
Oh yeah, GitLab's a short. Right here, look at all of this right now. Nice win there by Micro. So people now hitting the chat up for that as well. And that about runs down the rundown right now. And I guess that's it. So, you know.
Speaking of runs,
yep.
Novavax is still running. We talked about this morning about how, look, whether or not you want to give, like, it's not a fundamental reason just because Roaring Kitty owns the stock or has bought calls that it's going to go to the upside. You know, fundamental, like, to me, like, fundamentals in terms of a squeeze play was like NVAX, right? So NVAX got that deal with Sanofi, essentially. And at the end of the day, it's a high short float type of name. And you're actually breaking some levels to the upside. You already made one big move. You had a nice consolidation with another break. It's 30-something% short, so it's still pretty solid. Now, I'm not in it right now. I went to hold for the break, and it did not hold the break when I was in, and that was on the daily. Like, it kind of trailed it back out. It failed that break. It's just going to jump out of there on that level, and it's still trading higher. There's a chance this could take out a fresh high today, up 20%. So of the squeeze names, this one definitely showing some signs of strength. There's this ALBT Avalon Global, which is going ham. It halted just as we were coming back on, actually doing our rundown, opened back up well over $1. It's up 350%. So Avalon, just going to double check with you guys. The short float's not the story here. It's a 5 million float. It's done 115 million in volume. So suffice to say, the float is getting churned over a few times here. I mean, the halt price is $1.12. I suppose if it does a dip into that level, there could be some kind of a dip. I won't be chasing it, but anything doing 23 times its float is going to be spicy. That's how you get these 370% up. But it's chasing to buy tops on something like this. I am back into BlackBerry off of VWAP, which has been every single time there's any sign of resistance or weakness on GameStop, short BlackBerry. It's been VWAP pretty much the entire day. We'll see if it gets back to the low. And then the only other thing that I'm in that I didn't mention, because I talked about Micron, or we're going over the chips, was VWAP here on Google. So Alphabet was strong like a lot of other things in the morning, and then after the morning, it just started rejecting lower highs under 73, underneath VWAP. So we're short this at VWAP, just let it get into that curl. You see that one reversal candle, then we went short in here, 72.5. We're able to get some 72s, but it's trying to make a lower high as we speak. So there's a heck of a lot moving right now. Still feel like NVIDIA, like, it just bounced off VWAP. If something's taken out the top today, and that isn't a squeeze name or that isn't a short float name, it is setting up like it's going to be NVIDIA, super strong name today. Relatively speaking, I mean 3.8% for NVIDIA, that's been pretty good lately.
What's up to Brad here? I mean, I wish I could tell you. I wish either one of us could tell you what the hell's going on with this market today. Like I said, it's been a pretty red day, you know, for a lot of the traders here today. And I think it's just because it really hasn't given, I mean, earlier on, it's such a choppy morning there, and I feel like you could lose if you tried that long there in the futures, and then it drips down, and then the short really printed, but then it's doing that thing again where you're thinking short, and then it's just like, nah, we're going to be flat. So if you started to go hard short down there, which we had lost some money going short, obviously. We'll talk about all our positions as well, but that's a tough one because 18,500, like, the 18.8 level that we're talking about here on the NASDAQ, and again, a big shout out to Obi who had graduated on Friday, so that was a big one. I'm sure he'll talk about that more when he's on the show next, but 18.8, so there it is on the futures. Like, this really to me, is the level. I mean, not only now we have the 200 period, but at the end of the day, I feel like we need to get above this. There's just been the last 4 or 5 days, like a lot of sort of nice cover on Friday, but before then, down, like look where we were going. Like that cover on Friday that I think was just spurned by year end. I talked about that, or month end. Boom to the downside, and then really a nice rally back as Nvidia did hold that 1080 or whatever it was down at the bottom. AMD held 160, Tesla, I think that was that 174 or something. We just had a lot of key levels being held there. Apple 190, and then a nice battle back, and then we get, this is the thing, this morning we basically get to that 18,800. So this is why I'm trying to go short. Like, I'm not trying to pick the ultimate tops or bottoms here. It's just like we miss that short now. Let's see if a little retracement back, and then we start to head back down. I mean, that wick bottom at 18.4, we could still get back into that. Like, right now we're 18,560. So Brad, like a long-winded answer to your question here, it's like, I mean, I'm trying to go short. We were long early, and this is where I was saying like a trap sort of in the middle of the day, because you let the TQs and the NASDAQ fall right into your lap. You know, and then you start to buy it up because it's down pretty low, and we had sort of talked about some levels. I have to zoom it out to show you, but right here, $61, $62, trying to buy these dips right into there on the 20 period for the NASDAQ. You know, hold levels, and then it just goes, nope, we'll dip down, and then we'll start to go back to the upside right now. So I think this is going to be continue to be a game of try to be patient, try to hold on to what you have, and then just see if that Friday recovery is as ridiculous as I think it was, and if it just continues to go upside today. So that's sort of what I'm looking at here. The market has recovered nicely today. You know, it could have been way down. It was up. Nice move down to 18. Like, look at that, 18.4. So you're up 130 points now from that bottom. I still think we can go lower, and if we're wrong on it, we're wrong on it, and I will once again take the L on these shorts. But we're short on Amazon right now. We're short on the TQQs. Much more comfortable shorting the market than I am on Amazon, because Amazon's actually green today. But yeah, rubber band today, it seems like. I think all you guys in the chat are pretty right about that.
Speaking of rubber band, there's one thing I don't think we mentioned in the morning show was Bitcoin rejecting the 70K level. And hindsight being 2020, I'm going to pull up a chart of Mara in a second, and you'll understand why I'm saying hindsight being 2020. Like, you get a rejection of 70,000, lower highs, net trend down, and we had a little bit of a pop. It tried to go as well. And you look at what happened in specifically Mara here. This is a 15-minute chart. At the open, like this is a 15-minute candle, 20 to 21.5. Like, look at the big break that it attempted off last week's highs, and then the reversal was just insane. Anytime a breakout like that on a monster candle fails a top, generally speaking, I love that reversal play. But on a game, we always talk about the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of looking at GameStop and its cohorts is maybe there's a couple of things that you leave to the sidelines. And I know for myself, it was not even looking at Coinbase today, not really even looking at Mara, but that lower high after it rejected the top, you just kept on going lower and lower. And it's red on the day. I mean, the market's trying to bounce, but it's not really bouncing at all. It's still looking pretty nasty for them. Speaking of the aforementioned GME, it is still trying to hold some higher lows in here.
Let's go.
So it is, like, it's making a run. That 32 level, I think, still comes into play. Like, here's once, twice. Like, every time I was long going into it, I just kept getting out. And ultimately, like, it's not working. And since it topped the last time, it's been putting in some lower highs. So I think it needs to take 32.25, and then you got the 34 level. If it breaks this, and I'm not already out of BlackBerry, I'm just going to punch out of BlackBerry if this takes out 32.25. But the only thing that we're playing right now are shorts Google, shorts Micron. Those are the two things I'm looking for. We didn't get VWAP in here for any kind of a reload on Google, and sort of similarly with Micron. It came really close to getting the fill, but I just went ahead and canceled it as it dropped at 126.80. So I might just move a little bit further down here on Micron. It's all about just find that level, find the stocks that you like. If you want to short weak stocks and you got good levels, that's what you should do if you're at a resistance. If you're looking for longs, I don't want to punch anything at those highs, so I'm not going to do it. But looking for the short on still the same two names. We start busting out VWAP, and I'll change my tune.
All All right, here we go. Yeah, let's just continue to watch out for these chip names for sure. But here comes GameStop. We're at 31.70 now. I mean, we've seen this move up and away for us a couple times right now. I mean, if we could take 31.70, I mean, we're now $3 in the money, just a little bit higher than this, and we'll get going one more time into this trade. So, actually, you know what? Scratch it. Why do we have to get out? We don't need to do anything. All right, so 34 is my call. So let's go 33. Let's go 33.50. See if we can make, like I said, it hasn't been a great day, so let's see if we can make it a little bit better right now. But we just did get a bunch of covers on Amazon, so things are happening for us. So that's a blowout, but honestly, it's because we're able to get that high wick there, we were able to get it all the way back in. That was pretty good. And then because we got blown out right there, we were going to go get a coffee. Shout out to Randy and everybody. And then all of a sudden, boom to the downside, 177.40. We're able to capture some profits there off of 177.30. These are 176, 177. So that's 30, 40 cents. We'll redo that again down here right now as that's starting to fade out a little bit. Hopefully it fades out a little bit more. And we did the same thing here as the TQs fall all the way down into 61.90. And it just happened again there. So we should understand sort of the risk to reward. I do have lower bids, but I mean, maybe we don't get there. 61, I'm gonna cancel the 61.80 right now. And on Amazon, I had 177.05 or so. Wow, what a surprise. That's right where that 200 period is. So we'll still sit there and see if we can bid that out. But again, we actually have a decent amount of shares here. So it is gonna suck if it does go back up to the upside, which is why I'm kind of like thinking, you know, we have some shorts, and meanwhile GME is ripping, so we're $3 in the money on this one, and then meanwhile 12 cents in the money here and 5 cents out here. So again, managing 3 positions, I'm able to do it, it's no problem. Let's just, hopefully the market can fall back in now. As you can see, no longs, it's just long GME.
Pretty sideways.
BlackBerry is what it is, you've already discussed that, and then Google and Micron. So let me know if there's anything in the chat. You guys.
There's a halt on this other stock.
ALBT, yeah, some people.
Yeah, it halted down now. It's still above the initial halt price that it just had when it broke out, so it's still in play that it could bounce off this 110 area, or maybe even the $1 area as it opens in like 2 or 3 minutes or so. So it's a tap of 113 theoretical auction price, so it's looking like it would indicate opening right around here. So essentially flat. If it bounces off a buck, I mean, that's a trade I don't mind. Get into VWAP in there, look at like a 95 stop, but I don't know where it's going to open until it does. Otherwise, I'm still looking at the halt price. If it can hold on to that, looking at something off the 110, 113 area would be the first look. Again, do not want to be buying highs on stocks like this in the afternoon. I think if you can catch a dip, then you can at least try to risk 5 or 6 cents. And then if it bounces back into the high of the day, you've got yourself some kind of a risk to reward. When you buy at that top, good luck. Recently, that's not been the way to go. I saw that Ponzi, Larry Allen. Look, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but Larry Allen was maybe, like, I mean, a lot of people would call him the GOAT on the line there. He passed away, so great Cowboy, legendary player, mad respect. I mean, you know, they beat up on the Bills pretty badly in there, so, you know, rest in peace. I mean, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. We can acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, you just got to be able to move forward. That's what it's all about here. I do see in the chat, there's been some talk about Shopify. Now, first off, I don't know specifically what the deal was with Shopify's, like this candle on Shopify, but what it does look to me, at least, like when you have that kind of like V-shaped recovery back into the same high, that's pretty bullish. Shopify never broke that $60 level today. But this false bottom break to immediately reverse the move, like the biggest move of the day, happens just randomly at 12 o'clock on nothing, and then it just starts screaming higher. If this can take out 59.5, you might even say forget about the $60 level, but look at the rounded bottom this is making. So it was looking like it was going to be red for the first time in a week and a half, and all it does is grind back into this top. So this looks like a stock which is relatively strong. A, compared to the market, but B, just in a general sense off of this consolidation area. So higher lows all the way through. Maybe it breaks out 59.5 today. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be today for this stock, or even to get it through the 60 level, but that's exactly the kind of reversal that tells you somebody likes to buy this thing every time it's dipped. Like, look at the reversal it put in last week. Look at every single, look at the reversal on Friday. Every time it finds a support level, look how good that 57.5 has been. Somebody's buying this thing down here. So The 60 break will speak for itself, but I think some dip buys, maybe off this 58.5 level tomorrow, are going to be warranted on Shopify. That's just my 2 cents. And I've seen a few questions about it. It has been pretty strong.
Yeah, Shopify, again, my trade of the week 2 weeks ago, buying that $57, $58 level to try to break higher. Trade of the week this week, GME. We're getting out some Amazon, so we'll be like, hell yeah on that one. And GameStop is $3 in the money, so let's see if we can get a nice little pullback in the market to close. And today we have GitLab. I don't like the stock. Obviously, you heard me say bad report coming in for them. And why would I say a good one was coming in? We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight down days, breaking lower right now. Software as a service and all this kind of stuff not going that well. I wonder about AI's play here with GitLab. I know it is also an AI play, so we'll wait to see what. Oh, am I just missing those 05s on Amazon? It's at 07 right now. Are you kidding me? I had an 05 bid. Let's see if that comes through right now. But there comes GitLab. Expected move tonight. We don't have too many names going tonight. I think we should have Michael Nos on, I believe, there. So there, I think so. Find out what names. Yeah, find out what names he wants to talk about there from our last couple of weeks. We'll review what he gave us last week and then see if he is winning or losing on those recommendations or some of those ideas. But there's GitLab right there. Last time down 21%. Expected move 17%. So we also have the other one, Bark. I was just looking for big names. BarkBox down here again. We saw Chewy barking the other day, so potentially there could be something there with BarkBox. But other than that, there's absolutely nothing. The only names with B's behind them are names we've never even heard of. Canon Holdings, Science Applications Limited.
Canon.
Yeah, Canon. Shout out to Canon, our good friend Canon. And then Health Equity, as well as GitLab.
You're not excited for Health Equity?
I'm not excited for any of them.
Well,
I do like GitLab, though. I'm somewhat excited for that.
GitLab was a great short off of that. They had a security breach a couple of weeks ago.
They did.
Yeah, and it's been a great short off of that both that day and since then. So it might be too early for them to comment too much on the ramifications, but it'll be interesting to see at least on their call what they have to say about that security breach, because they got smoked and it flat bottom break on the daily. Like, the chart doesn't look very good. As a matter of fact, it looks pretty darn nasty. Trader Nick, CrowdStrike is tomorrow night, I want to say. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I have it here on Trade Ideas, and I'm not just sort of making it up. Like, I see June 4th post market for CrowdStrike. Down 2% today, but we do have CrowdStrike this week. It's just not tonight. It is June 4th, tomorrow night. That will be a big one. Cybersecurity, always going to be a big one. 27 goes. I'm jumping out of Micron. That one, we just got a reload at 80s, 84, whatever, 80s. If it breaks out here, I'm just going to jump out. We're still in Google. That's looking okay. Got eyes on that GME. And then that ALBT stock opened back up. Didn't really get down underneath that halt up price and then immediately caught a bid. So it's starting to come back down. Looks like we might get a test of this 110 area in here. If it can show some bounce, I'd like to grab it above 15, give it a stop underneath that halt up price of 113 and see if we can't catch a little dip by action here on ALBT. It is back open after a couple of minutes, but unless you took the opening print, you weren't getting the long off that previous halt level. Only the opening print gave you that.
Let's have a look at all the big stocks here moving around today. We're in a good winner right now, man. Amazon is starting to go. So we're 25 cents in the money on shares. All right. NVIDIA, 3.5. I mean, you're 100% right, Sam. I mean, this name just keeps on trucking along. That's for sure. Meta. I mean, I just checked my account. And I mean, I have to be happy with what's happening for the shares I have. Eli Lilly, again, another dip buy opportunity that we made at 713 or something. That was another one of the trades of the week going through for Eli Lilly. That's up 1.46% at all-time highs. Again, by the way, Walmart downside, don't like that name too much up here. But Costco, kind of floating around, Amazon 0.5, Merck. I really like this sector. We've been talking about XBI and XLV and then IBB and some of the different technology sector ETFs, and I really like that spot right now. I do not like the banks as much. We've sort of talked about some of the Canadian bank troubles that have been happening, and then TD Bank got pumped again in the face, I think. I don't know.
They did. It was
so
more issues.
Those guys can't get their stuff sorted out. The minute our friend started working there, I knew that was a put. All right, BAC, JP, probably not true. He's been there for 10 years or more. All right, Wells Fargo. What is this one here? BX, Blackstone. So we have some nice moves to the downside. I mean, other than the chip names here with NVIDIA, I mean, AMD down, Broadcom down, Intel down, Texas Instruments down. They're all down. I mean, it's just a matter of trying to find which ones are up. And I mean, it's just NVIDIA, and that goes to Sam's point. What is this name? Boeing. What's Boeing?
No, I was going to say Boeing and Caterpillar and
yeah, so Boeing's
having a bad day.
Boeing's having a great day, but G's having a bad day.
GE and like,
oh, right into here. Yeah. So yeah, there's some bad days around, and I just think it's like lipstick on a pig today. We talked about that over and over again, as that's why I'm trying to short the market. There's not too many green names. I mean, Apple's doing a lot of the heavy lifting, obviously, and we can review that name if we wanted to as well. That's still up 0.5, so that's doing a lot of lifting, and then NVIDIA's doing the other bit there too as well. I mean, that's why we just reviewed those names. Healthcare, Meta, Lilly, NVIDIA, Apple. I mean, there's not a whole heck of a lot other than maybe some of the randos that are out there right now. But here we go. Let's see if we can get some nice moves down here for Amazon. Hopefully we print a little south of 177 and hold. That's the thing. The market's doing a heck of a lot of nothing. The fact that we're trying to make some money here is actually nice, that we've been able to catch some of this top and bottom. But if we break out, I mean, honestly, do you just want to sit in this thing? It's not a Friday afternoon. We don't have that end of the month run up that we're expecting. I'm just sort of hoping that we can float back to where we were, but maybe not. I mean, now you're above the 50-period moving average. That's why we're starting to get lighter and lighter on some of these positions. And GameStop, we're still being stubborn, man. I mean, we're staying $3 in the face. Again, we were right here at 31.70, so we could have got that out, but we didn't take it. Let's see if it can come back in our favor soon. That is my friend and yours, GameStop.
It's not everybody's friend today. I feel like
it's nobody. I mean, everybody's.
It's almost nobody's friend. That said, like,
green on it?
No, I'm down on it. Yeah. The only saving grace is, and this was true the last time, the last first day. Like when Rory and Kitty tweeted, and there was that first day of trade. My best meme stock that day was BlackBerry, and it was a short. And then again today it was the same thing. Like we trade GameStop and we do better on BlackBerry, which I was really just holding for a short, and it never even gave like that big pop to fade into. I am in that ALBT now. I'm giving it to underneath the halt price. That was 113. So there's our bounce. We said we look for the reopen. I guess if I had put an opening order, you could have got limit open and taken it and already had a scalp trade, but I wasn't buying it off the reopen. I just waited for it to bounce there. If it cannot hold 112, then I'm just jumping out. I'm long at 18s. So I said 5-10 cents worth of risk. If it gets back into the high, I've already scalped a bunch out and trying to hold to a break of the high of the day. So that's what we're going to try to do there. GME starting to hold 31s a little bit. And the longer that happens, I mean, I got back into BlackBerry. It's not really going. If this starts breaking out, I'm probably just punching out flat on BlackBerry. That just simply means, like, look at it go sideways. Like, there's a volume spike when GameStop went up. So I'm like, oh, okay, good. GameStop spikes up and comes back under VWAP. I'll short that. That's what worked earlier. But since that move, it's just not doing anything. It went like a cent or two in the money, and it's a lot of sideways action. So if it's not going to go, then we don't need to be in it at all. Checking back, and we're starting to get a move up here. So here comes NVIDIA. It might take out this top on NVIDIA, 1142. Okay, let's check that. Sorry, 1143.88. So 1144 is going to be the high of the day on NVIDIA. I think it's got a decent chance to go. Although I did hear in my ear that CCL just did. I mean, CCL, I'm not really sure what's going on with CCL. Up 5% today and just broke out the top on big volume.
Come on.
Okay, that looks interesting to me. Like, this is definitely a break and run over recent highs at least, 1570. I'm not sure what the story is, but it's certainly going. Yeah,
CCL, I saw that was a nice big move there. We just reshorted the Qs. I mean, we said we were going to play top to bottom, so there it is right there. It is another one, as we're not moving around too much.
Another one.
But I mean, it came into the high of the day. We sat there, we took the fill, and then we just took a bunch of outs there in the 20s again. So it's not like, again, we're short at 62.30s. We just got filled there. some at 19s. I think we might have got even a little bit lower there. Sorry, 20s and 23s is what we wound up getting, so not 19s at all. So that's what's happening right there. International Paper's getting another bid under it apparently, so I have to watch out for
like
IP. We'll have to wait to see if there's anything going on with that one as well. So a nice little move up there for International Papier. All right now GameStop, we'll see about this one, 31 bucks. Still in this, yeah, CCL. Let me have a quick look here because we want to always trade names that are moving around. So again, this name, I don't know about cruising or anything like that, but it's cruising right now. Breaking 1560, potential short float squeeze maybe to the upside there for CCL. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the travel has been so hot for so long, but again, this name has been doing nothing pretty much all year. We started the year up here at 1750 or so. Nice move down to 14, which is great. A couple double bottoms, and now you're just in the middle, sort of where we've been. This is probably like the, the mean price of the year so far, like in and around 1550 or so. So, a little bit of time above, a little bit of time below there. We'll have to wait to see.
What I don't like about this, actually, I looked at a weekly chart of the stock. I kind of don't like it on the weekly. Like it's a double top at 20 on the weekly with lower highs since there. I saw someone in the chat say it's really expensive. It is from a PE perspective, I suppose. There's no question that it is. But as a day trade, it looks momentum good. But look at it after the lower highs, now hugging the 50 period on the weekly chart. Like if it doesn't start closing above 16 bucks, I don't know how good it's going to be, but that 16 level is kind of what is challenging today. So on a momentum basis, it looks okay. I would just feel better if there was news as to why it's looking so strong, relatively speaking. Again, I have nothing to tell you in terms of why this thing is so strong, but I could always be missing something. I have no issues with that. That International Paper has been in deal speculation for a while, just so you guys know. There's like at least a couple of initial bids for this name. It's not really moving much or making fresh highs. I know daily chart doesn't want to work there, but it's not really making fresh highs past some of the first deal announcement highs. So it's not really breaking out, even if there is a new deal, and the volume looks relatively light on that name. So I'm going to call that a bit of a nothing burger. Went for it on ALBT, so we risked 5 or 6 cents in there. It could not hold that hull price, so I'll back away from it unless it bounces off VWAP or $1. That's where I'd take another shot. On this name, we reloaded Micron. We have not reloaded Google. And Google, it just got into VWAP when we got Micron. So we might get a chance at this again on Alphabet.
So look, again, a big congratulations to Adara joining Josh and Justin. We have 3 green traders here today, and let's try to get this momentum going longer now. And I'm trying to join these guys, but honestly, if this market does not fall down, then we are going to not be joining anybody except for myself in despair, because this market is trying to go back upside now. Is it? I mean, it's doing nothing. So we'll have to wait to see 18,620, 18,600. We'll see what winds up happening right now to us coming out. Again, these aren't the right, for me, these aren't the right markets. I'd rather have them doing these kind of moves where we have these wicked bottoms like that to the point where we know the levels and we are willing to put an extreme amount of risk into levels that we like. And that 174 right there for Tesla, I mean, the reason why Tesla's your P&L number 1 today is because we believed in 180. And when it broke it, we took it. And it's on the sticky note, the 180 long. So obviously we punch that through and take that without any problems whatsoever. Okay? It's when it came back in right there, the dip buy then becomes important. So we look at our screen here and we're like, where do we want to dip buy? And we love the 174. And that's exactly what it came down into. So again, sometimes you're going to miss trades. I think now we just have to be patient again and try to wait for it. Although the market might not give us anything. You have to sort of play the game when the market makes these moves down. And when a name comes into a level that you like if AMD ever came into, and we could double check it. I mean, we saw that bounce the other day at 160 right there for AMD. So today, where did it come into?
61.
161. So again, probably a great spot to take the shot. If you're not willing to take a $1 shot on AMD, take stage left. I mean, it's just one of those things, right? So right there, another great level coming in for AMD. 160, you had to be here. Look at that. There's that bottom tick. 160 bottom to run $8 into the close on Friday. So I think that you want to be able to take shots where shots are necessary, not just randomly at random levels. And right now, with these futures kind of just hovering around, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, you know, if the future's going to go down, that's great. If they're going to go up, that's great. We're going to get stopped out. It's just like there's no real productive movements happening right now in the futures. We'll wait for more economic numbers coming through this week, and I think it's just going to be one of those things. I mean, look at GameStop. You want to talk about something that's you know, really taking a nap right now. It's taking a cat nap. This is where I'd hit that roaring. That's where I'd hit that roaring kitty thing.
Well, we don't have it, so
I know.
Joke drum.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have a couple of things in there.
Yeah, we have a couple of things in there.
We got the AMC one for some reason.
Yeah, we have that one too. Well, we'll get them all. These guys super busy.
No, 100%.
Fabian and Ramin there, working way too.
Oh, and great, you know,
I love the golf claps, man.
It's a fantastic job on the, you know, the new pod did a great job. And if you haven't listened to it, check out, you know, Freedom and Wealth. Let me throw it up there. Might as well, if I'm going to say it. We can.
I mean, if they can make me look good.
But if we can, I don't know if we have.
Give them a damn raise.
Anyways, look, the podcast went absolutely great. It dropped Freedom and Wealth on Saturday, but it doesn't really matter. Like the topic is really just, it's just discussing like the opportunity for everybody, regardless of your level of financial knowledge or where you might be in terms of your career. Like you could be young, you could be, you know, the middle age, doesn't really matter. It's just really about what the characteristics, I don't want to spoil too much, and the kind of things.
Spoil it.
Okay, fine, yeah, the characteristics of finding success. The things that you need to think about when you're starting, say, a side hustle, whether it's trading or not. Like the mentality that's going to be needed for it, some of the pitfalls that you're going to find there for you from a mental standpoint. I think we talk about this in terms of like the nuts and bolts of trading. Here's your level, getting in, getting out. That's very different from, hey, if you're a person that's about to put down that first $5,000 on an account or $1,000 on an account, like what are some of the mental challenges that you're going to go through, and what do you have to expect for that, or any new venture in general? So I think it was a fantastic first episode.
All right, look, the only reason, I mean, a lot of you are here to learn, but when you're going to learn, you're going to want to try to put up some numbers, which is why I'm sitting here. Top 10 traders from Friday. $82,000 somebody made in the Canadian market. Somebody made $41,000 in this. This is at Real Trading. Trading Amsterdam, BOVESPA, TSX, LSE, Madrid, Milan, and New York. I mean, you guys wonder why it was exciting here on Friday. So let's just sound the alarm again. Shout out to Real Trading for making this possible. Look at all of these numbers that were put up on Friday. 81, 40, 30. These are years. For many traders, not many traders, these are 5 years for many traders. These are numbers that many traders never even, 98% of traders can't see these numbers for sure. We've already talked about that. 38, 38, 30, 25, 25. Look at this, Canada, it's all over the place. 24, 24, 22. Look at these last two, Amex and NASDAQ. Big numbers being put up. So I'm going to say a big congratulations to my guy, Obi, as well. But a big congratulations, yeah, right there. You can clap that out, too.
Obi.
Right there, big claps for everybody as well. As Obi had mentioned that it was 2 years to get there. And, you know, congratulations to Obi. He's there now. And in order to graduate, as we talk, you need to make $2,000, and that's during your whole career. So you guys want to talk about positive traders or not? 2 years, $2,000. You know, so you got to focus, stay in your grind. That's $100 a month. Okay, so you got to stay there, you got to grind it out, and then hopefully be able to pay out as we move forward. So a big shout out and a big congratulations to Obi for holding out, grinding it out. Now he'll get a little more risk, and then we'll talk to Obi again when he's on the show. And
he's back on. Well, I mean, he'll be back on Friday. Is that Dara's going to take a little time for herself, which I think is like the first time she's going on a trip since she's been in. So Obi's going to be in for Dara, so he'll be able to talk about his journey to be sure. But if you look at those numbers, a lot of the names on that list, or at least the numbers on the list, to keep it anonymous. Trading multiple markets, looking for different opportunities. That's a cool thing about Real Trading. Is like you saw the Canadian market in there. I saw BOVESPA on one of those names. That's the Brazilian market. Yeah. For like 99% of you.
Closes, right?
Like, because it was the end of it's the end of the month, right? So when you have MSCI rebalancing, well, MSCI, there's a lot of whoops, I don't want to be long. Micron, get out, get out.
We showed you all the volume that was there on the imbalances.
So it wasn't
Guys
just US. It was also Toronto. There was also Brazil had imbalances as well, and lots of big opportunities.
Here we go.
So just very quickly, you might have seen that I was for a split second long in Micron. No, I got out. Did not. I had the wrong number in there. So again, I was long for a brief second. I'll reload it at VWAP if we get a chance, but did not want to be long that name. You're starting to see a bit of a move down as GameStop might be losing that 31 level. I have bids on BlackBerry, so not too worried about that. Do not get the reload on Alphabet yet, but it's not falling as much as the other things. So, a little bit of caution here, but then when I look at it compared to the NASDAQ, not much of a difference. So it's kind of just doing what the NASDAQ is doing. NASDAQ gets into resistance at 18.6, it pulls resistance at VWAP. So I should be more concerned if we're breaking out the 18.6 level, but the short's certainly paying for now on just about everything. And as I said, if GameStop loses it in the other direction, I have bids into the low of the day on BlackBerry. It's just about risk to reward. At the end of the day, BlackBerry did this the last time, where if it never threatens breaking resistance, just taking little scalp shots certainly works. Even Nvidia, which was certainly strong, starting to pull back into VWAP on its own. So you're starting to get some weakness over here in the market. That's where the money's get made. I got out of Micron. We took the scalp trade, but we're going to hang on to Google.
All right. Yeah, we got a good one on Amazon there. We still think the market can get lower here, so we're gonna wait to see if that happens. Right now, no, that's the problem. What's up to? I can answer some questions about prop trading if you guys want. I've been here 24 years or so we should be able to do that. And I've worked not only on the floor, but as a manager, as an owner. I've hired thousands of traders, talked to very, very many of them, obviously as they go. So I don't have a problem. We eat what we kill, so there's absolutely no hourly wage for a prop trader. So someone's asking about that in there right there, which is why I'm always saying to people, and we'll talk about this again on the podcast, which is so important that everybody listens to it literally ASAP, because I'm trying to be real. To everybody just here on the show, and even more so on the podcast, because we want to make sure that, the audience that we're talking to is similarly interested in the topics. So if you guys want to know about day trading, I'm here to answer any questions or any questions about anything really right now. So where can you join this group and share my numbers? You can't. Unfortunately, you can go, if anybody's around, you could join Real Trading right now. Real Trading, trade smart, not hard. And that was that whole point of why I showed those numbers. You saw monster numbers there come through. Someone took advantage of something they saw and they rang the register on that. So again, congratulations to everybody that did that. That's a trading strategy. Absolutely murdered it. So that's great. You can also join us. You can join today by simply hitting join today. Real Trading, the #1 prop trading firm nationwide. Worldwide. But unfortunately, I say not nationwide because you are unable to join Real Trading in the lovely country of the United States of America. So you're unable to do that, but right there, due to current and legal regulatory requirements, United States citizens or residents are currently unable to open a trading floor with us. But if you are outside of the lovely United States, then you may join Real Trading and do it ASAP. And then, Mr. Zimbabwe, you can be part of those numbers. But again, I'll believe you. You put whatever number you want on here, and we will talk about that, because as you can clearly see, and we talk about this all the time, and someone even asked what people's shutdowns are. It's just a matter of what kind of performance you've been putting up based on your shutdown. So if you're making a certain amount of money per day, you will get most likely 1.5 times, maybe 2 times that risk. So if you're making $100 a day, you'll probably get, and again, I don't want to speak about all the different offices, because I actually, since starting the show, which is why the show was started, I've stepped away from, opening up offices and helping people on that side, because now we're just doing the show. So I don't know exactly the rules, but generally speaking, it's about 1.5, 2 times, maybe 2.5 times the amount of risk. So if a trader like myself can make $50 a day, then the shutdown would be $150 or so. So that's roughly where it is, and that's how it works. So, and again, that's why it's very important that once you hit that $2,000, which I know a lot of you said that that's light work and everything like that, and you are, light work is in the eye of the beholder, it's whatever you guys put out there is, to each their own. Some people will be happy making, well, first of all, if you're gonna trade at a prop firm, you only get paid a percentage of what you make. So if you think about it, right around here in Canada, and I talk about this with the guys out the back here all the time, you really have to think, is it worth it? It's $15, $16, $17 an hour to work at McDonald's here. So if you talk about that and you're working for 8 hours a day, you're making $100 and change. Obviously, you got to pay taxes. You got to pay taxes if you make money here anyways. So you're making $100 a day working at McDonald's. So if you're going to get paid 50% on a prop floor, then that means you need to make $200 a day. $200 a day times 20 days is $4 grand. To graduate, you need to make $2 grand over your career. So to have a living wage, you need to make $4 grand in a month. So that's $200 a day trading on a prop floor because you're not going to get all of it. So that's living wage kind of talk. So that's the goals that you have to make. You have to set those goals. And for some people, like we had heard already, takes months, takes years, right? Some people can't do it. Some people can do it. I feel like 80% probably at real trading. I don't know the exact numbers, but you know, I used to think if you hire 20 and you get 2 or 3, you're doing pretty good as far as a graduate. So that's why I try to throw out some of these numbers. And again, you're not going to find anybody talk more real about this than me, to the point where when I used to talk like this, they used to say, stop being so real. So I'm here on the show to tell you all about that. And there it is right there. Thank you, Dan McIsaac, Mr. Long Shorts, and all of that. So yeah, any questions like that, I am here for you. And we also here for GameStop, which again is not moving. So let's get back to trading a little bit there. I hope that made some sense to a lot of you. And again, there we go. Yeah, numbers do not lie. That is right. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Shout out to Lil Wayne. All right, there it is. GameStop again. Not doing a whole heck of a lot, but there we go. So good job there. And ooh, you would pay me, Rivian Millionaire, to have a discussion with me. Join the podcast, as we'll have good discussions weekly and here on the show.
Exactly.
You know, that's what the market recap show's for.
Well, we'll say this about real trading. So every trading floor is kind of like independently owned. Like obviously, like right now, like there's offices all across. Like Luis has his own office. He can decide to have a different standard for how he does, you know, how he wants to have traders. Like there is a bit of a difference. That's what it happens to be on the Toronto floor. Like everywhere's a little bit different. So you know, I don't want to tell you that. Okay, so the graduation is this. You got to make the 2,000. Someone goes to Luis's office in Barcelona and says, "Well, this is what I was told." No, he can decide to run it how he wants. Ultimately, you're trading from capital. They are going to have the risk management in terms of like your shutdown levels. It is based on a table and what you make and what you earn. But in terms of like graduating and traders getting paid when you get that percentage, here it is that too. But you know, it could be, I don't know what it is. I actually don't know specifically what Luis does, but you know, that is something that he can change if he wants. So it is, you know, it's one of those things where it's not easy to do. I can tell you from experience, a lot of the traders that I've seen, it's not even just about when they graduate, it's about when they get to that point where, okay, like you get past just graduating, you get to a point of making a living wage, and then can you ride the ups and downs once you've reached that point? And that is like a separate challenge, I think, for a lot of people, because you get a lot of graduates that might be in that, like 1 out of, or I think 10 you said, where you might graduate, but that's not even the same as then being there like 5 years later, still making a wage. Like I think that's a totally different number as well. So just a couple of things here. Google's about to break this VWAP, and I did get a reload. So we reloaded this one off VWAP. It looks like it's about to break out. GameStop's still doing absolutely nothing. But you know what? It is 3 o'clock on a Monday.
Watch out, Amazon.
Which means we've got Danielle Shay, and we're excited to talk to her because you know, we want to talk some NVIDIA. We want to talk some options. Oh my goodness, Roaring Kitty and and what they did. But let's talk. Look, first off, Danielle, it's great to see you. As usual.
Great to see you guys.
But I kind of out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, you got another great outfit on there. But home of the free because of the brave. I appreciate that one, to be sure. But you don't have one of your sweaters on, which I was hoping for a new one. But you don't have one.
No, this is a new one.
Oh, it is?
This
Okay.
My new 4th of July. It's home of the free because of the brave and the bulls.
I didn't.
You can see the whole thing, but
there you go. Because of the bulls, I love it. I wasn't sure. Like I'm looking at it, like, oh, it's probably, you know, it's just fantastic. But it's not one of your new ones. I'm still looking for my free one there, Danielle. Great look. The bulls. I mean, they haven't been winning today. There's no question about that. And I'm gonna lay a good portion of the blame for that on Microsoft. And so talk to us about Microsoft, because every time we come on here, I want you to say good things about Microsoft, but you give us the truth, which is what you should do. So what's the deal here? Because clearly Microsoft doesn't care that we're supposed to still be in a bull market.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem with the buy the dip right now, because I've been watching the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ pulled back directly into the 50 simple and bounced. So that's perfect. That's what I like to see to start buying the dip. But I mean, here's the problem. If you look at Microsoft, I mean, Microsoft really isn't participating in that whatsoever. You've got Microsoft down 1%. And here's the thing is I always have to pay attention to the 50 simple on the daily chart. It's a critical support zone. And when you have a stock that has shifted, and then that's going to be the yellow line on my chart, by the way. When you have a stock that has shifted and has broken through that value on high volume 2 days in a row and is now stuck below it, I mean, it's not a good sign, Typically, you want to see that stock holding up above that level. You want to see a bounce. You want to see a wick on the bottom, and you want to see buyers come in. But that's not what's happening here. So that's why the NASDAQ buy the dip is just a little suspect for me.
So you mentioned that 50 period simple. And I think what's interesting about that is if I did not have the 50 simple on the daily chart of Microsoft, then what this might look like to me, at least before, well, okay, fine. Like now we're all of a sudden breaking 411, but before that, it would have looked like a bit of a rejection underneath 410 and then a higher low. So if not for that simple moving average, I might see a buying opportunity in front of the 410 level. And I think it's something I look at it a lot of times. I don't like it either. I think everyone just sort of has to have their own metrics of what they like, what they don't like. I love the 200 period moving average. If there's a stock I want to buy on dips, then a lot of times I'll look at that 200 simple myself. But look, everyone says sell in May and go away. And it's one of those, I don't really prescribe too much to the whole seasonal for it. Obviously, you can make a case here, like you've talked about it in terms of momentum, looking at the charts. Do you care at all about the seasonality of that? We just got into June. Things aren't looking super fantastic for a name you like here, Microsoft, and a couple of things are also pulling back. Do you care at all about the seasonality? You just sort of stick to your guns and your technicals, or maybe it's like a factor that might help you like shorts or make you a little bit more tepid. Does it matter at all that we're past May?
Oh, absolutely. Seasonality is really important for me. And especially as you get into June, what can happen? Kids are getting out of school. People are going on vacation. The market can be a little bit slower. We're just not really seeing as much action. And so, like you said, the 200 simple, I mean, that's a great value. And if you break through the 50, yeah, I'll definitely target the 200. But my problem with Microsoft is, I mean, that's going to be all the way down at 380. So, I mean, I hope we don't fall that far, but here's the thing about Microsoft as well, is that if you look at Microsoft seasonality going into July, that is actually one of my favorite trades that I do, like quarter over quarter, because once you get into July, you have another earnings season coming up. So I think May and especially June, as you get into the end of the month, it can be a little bit slow, but what I like to do is I like to look at Microsoft about 21 bars before that earnings report in July. And so that time frame is going to start about June 27th, okay? So if we're going to chop around in Microsoft from now until around then, which would be a little boring, right? But that would create some consolidation that we could potentially trade for a breakout into that July earnings report. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right here. But if we keep falling below the 50 simple, we're just going to have to watch for this support zone right here between 390 and 395. See if that holds. And if it doesn't, then the next zone is going to be 380.
All right, Ms. Danielle Shay. Hi, my name is Sean. Nice to meet you. Hopefully you're doing well.
Hey, how are you? I'm doing great.
Good. All right. We have some questions from the chat. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so you're an expert at this kind of stuff. All right, Ian Respeto says, can we please show the screen here? Yeah, thank you. Who is that? Oh, Ramin. Ramin's the best. Can I ask Danielle about CrowdStrike and what her thoughts are for earnings tomorrow? So I'll give you a second to load it up there, Danielle. We have CrowdStrike really getting faded out, just 3 negative days in a row here. Not a candle that I like that happened on the 24th or 28th, whatever day this was right there, where we sort of poked our head above this 350 area. And since then, we've really had a hard time coming back down. RSI pretty low down here at 38 and change. I like best of breed names. We talk about that all the time. CrowdStrike and PanW appear to be just that. The worry for me, not that this PE means anything. I don't even know if it's right. 800? That seems a little bit high. But CrowdStrike right here reporting tomorrow night, June the 4th. Do you have any positions on as far as CrowdStrike or anything potentially that tickles your fancy with this one?
So I haven't placed any positions on CrowdStrike yet, but this one's definitely on my radar. If you look at my chart right here, I mean, this will give you the earnings data over the course of the last 12 quarters. So essentially we have a stock that, I mean, it's beat EPS estimates 12 quarters in a row, right? And so, I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. And then we have a situation where last quarter, fantastic beat, gapped up 21%. But what happened was that was the high, and you know, it gave back that move, and it's been pretty sloshy since then.
Right.
If you look back at the previous quarters, you'll see that it's a little bit mixed. You know, half of the time it's up, half the time it's down, but I would say it's a little bit more up than down after earnings. Here's the thing. I like CrowdStrike. I think it's a good company. I think it's a great company to hold shares in. And I think I'm going to be cautiously bullish on this earnings report because they do tend to beat, because they did really well last quarter. And I think, you know, because they've pulled back before the report, it makes it a lot easier to make a bullish trade. I wouldn't want to do it if we were all the way, you know, up at a new high. But I mean, I think like selling some put credit spreads down at 300. Maybe if we fall a little bit more into tomorrow, you could probably sell them around here. It has a 10% expected move this quarter. So you can see that, you know, sometimes it'll move more than that, but for the most part, it's been like 3%. I've had a couple different 3% moves. So you could try to do something neutral in the options market. But I'm cautiously optimistic about this one.
And Danielle, of course, you know this, and I'm just going to tell everybody in the chat, they can find these earnings reports live on the Market Recap Show. All right, here comes Amazon making a move a little downside right here quickly. Danielle, sorry about that, just 1 second. Amazon making a move down as we pull back. Now the future's trying to break below the 50-period moving average. Look, we've been shorting upside right now on Amazon. I mean, obviously we'll bid the 200-period down here at 177 and see if we can get out. Danielle, I don't trade like you on this one. 68 fills on Amazon today. All right, one more. We'll have a few more names coming your way right now. All right, you and I talk about this all the time, and you were on. I think it was right. NVIDIA. We had those earnings report. It was a great show. It was one of the best ones we've ever had. And now NVIDIA just keeps on climbing higher and higher and higher. What do we do with NVIDIA? I think you're like a lot of us looking to try to dip by this name. Where do you see any opportunity here? I mean, I can sort of say this gap right here of 1060, 1080 isn't too bad, but that was just here on Friday. To me, I think there's more damage coming for NVIDIA. Possibly 950, 960 would be an area where I may put a bid. How does this look to you? I mean, obviously, we're just chasing something here at this point, as NVIDIA may close at all-time highs even today.
So when you look at NVIDIA, I mean, the main thing that I'm focused on is the fact that you have to have the shares, you know, by the end of this week to partake in the split, right? Which is going to be on the 10th. And so I was trying to make just a little bit more of an aggressively bullish bet here because I was kind of hoping that people were going to continue to pile into the stock because they want the shares before the split. And then here's the thing is that you know that there's a lot of people that really want to buy this stock, but it's way too expensive. And so it's possible that those people are going to come in next week and buy it as well. So I know it's a little crazy. I know it's a little bit aggressive, but I mean, here's the thing. I see this $1,200 price target and it's like, why not have an options trade with a target at 1,200? It's a key psychological value. There's a lot of high open interest. It's within the expected move. So I'm still trading this thing to the upside. Yes, I know it's definitely probably going to do like an SMCI at some point. I know you called that one to the short side and you traded it. But I'm still trying to hang on to the upside potential on this one.
I mean, I think if you're going to put money to work, it's probably a good spot with NVIDIA. I mean, people in the chat are like, just trade the king. You know, why not? Why not just hold on to that? All right. If not for my family, maybe yours. I don't know. Like, my family's trying to prop up the price of Lululemon here just by simply buying as much as they can. But I don't know if that means anything for the stock price. Lululemon here, Danielle, if you come over to the daily chart, Ramin, right now, we had that high of 500, 520, and it's really been getting clobbered. We didn't have a great report from Under Armour, but we did see some good recoveries from Gap, which has athleisure with Athleta brand. We saw some nice bounce backs in the Gap stores as well. And then we talked about Foot Locker getting a little bit of a bid off of a better quarter. So Lululemon right now, it's, to me, I mean, we're all the way back into some levels of support into 290, 280. With report on Friday, and I know you and I have talked about it, but the chat really wants to know, what is your thought on Lululemon?
So my thought on this one is, you know, they could surprise. There's always that potential. You'll see some of those moves like with Apple, but I mean, this chart pattern is just absolutely destructive. We have such a high inflationary environment right now. You know, people are saving money any way they can, and you know, avoiding buying the $70, $80 yoga pants is probably something that's pretty common right now, but more than anything, it's just this chart pattern. When I look at a chart pattern like this, where you had a stock that had just gone to previous high, and then it shifts below the 50 simple, then it breaks below the 200 simple on high volume, continues careening lower the entire quarter after a 13% gap down. I mean, that is just absolute destruction. So for something like this, it'd be pretty hard for me to want to trade that to the upside just because of that pattern. Because here's the thing is that if it breaks below $300 a share, where you have all of this support, I mean, like you said, you know, there's price support there. So you know, you could try it if it does well after earnings, but if that support zone breaks, that stock is going to get even more destroyed than it already has. So I would rather bet on the short side, or at least wait until after earnings. And if you get another gap down after earnings, you know, you could ride that wave pretty easily for the next couple days potentially, or a couple weeks. And if you again get a surprise, then yeah, you know, you could probably trade it up into 350. But that's definitely one to watch. It's on my radar, and I think we've got some earnings destruction coming.
Well said, Danielle. And look, obviously, retail has been not shy to have some volatile earnings moves. We're talking about like Foot Locker and some of the others that have already gone through. We got a good question here, and I know anyone can find your page to learn a little about the basics of options. But we had a good super chat here from one of our viewers, Kyle Burdett, in the house. Danielle, what happens to options contracts when the stock splits? Do strikes get adjusted?
They do get adjusted, and it can be challenging if you buy options contracts before a split, because they're going to split by the value of the split. And so if you have some random numbers in your options contracts, you know, you can end up with options contracts that don't have any volume. And so I've definitely tried before, like especially with the Nvidia split and like the Tesla split, where I'll buy options contracts and hold them through the split. But I'll tell you that it's not easy, because what happens is that the volume drops out of those, and you have to wait until volume starts coming in to the new contracts at the new value. And so you can get kind of screwed if you buy options that don't end up having a lot of volume, because the spreads can become very wide, and it can really mess up your trade, and it can make it hard to get out. So if you're going to hold any options through the split, just make sure that you're picking key psychological values that are going to divide easily by 10. And because in the options market, generally the key psychological value targets are the ones that are going to have the most volume and the most open interest. So, you know, 1,200, 1,000, 800, something like that.
Look, it's a fantastic answer. Thank you so much for answering that. Of course, being our options specialist, because you know you come on the show to educate everybody. And around Nvidia's split, Clearly, it's going to be an interesting topic. I know, like, obviously, we're going to have viewers that are going to be trading around the event, so I think that's absolutely invaluable. Just before we get you out of here, Danielle, thank you for coming on and joining us, because it's always a pleasure to have you here. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Obviously, we're near the end of earnings season. Like, anything you're looking at we didn't get a chance to talk to, or just maybe where they can find you as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, you can find me on my YouTube channel. I would love some requests for videos. I've been working on a trade review series where I've been going over just all the different trades that I do. And I was thinking about making some videos about the NVIDIA split, and I don't know, I'm not really sure what else. So I love all of your questions and comments. I'll definitely go through the chat and see if I have any ideas that I can use to make some videos on my YouTube channel, Trader Danielle. But other than that, I mean, I'm primarily focused on NVIDIA right now. CrowdStrike earnings is coming up. I'll probably trade Lululemon. If not before, then I'll probably trade it after. Another one that I'm looking at is going to be Broadcom. So I think Broadcom can move really well with NVIDIA, and Broadcom is going to have earnings that's coming up next week. So that's another one, especially as we get later into the week, and next week we can talk about too, because this has been a very strong stock, and just nice, gorgeous little pattern. It doesn't get as much attention as NVIDIA does, but that's why it can be a great stock to trade. So that's about all I have for right now, but I'm always up to hear any of your ideas.
Well, I think if you keep an eye on that chat, because I've seen a few, there's a few comments that even came in there for a couple of ideas that you could do or talk about. So it's always a pleasure having you on, Danielle. I know you're going to be back for the market recap show this week. Obviously,
yes,
check that out.
I will.
It'll be on Thursday, so it'll be a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, whether there's big earnings or not, there's always something you can learn. And Broadcom next week, they should do a split, obviously. But Danielle Shay, check her out on the X Machine, of course, and check out her YouTube page as well. A great friend of the show. Appreciate you, Danielle.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
So another fantastic one. I didn't remember Broadcom, to be honest with you, next week. Although when you're day trading, that's one of those stocks. It's like, can you please just split so day traders will actually bother looking at it? It certainly falls into that category. Like, Nvidia is at least tradable when it's expensive. Tesla was tradable before it splits, but some of these others like Broadcom, sometimes SMCI, not the best. So while all this was happening, GameStop just lost to 30 again. And where is it?
Yup.
There we go. So it came back to the 30 level. I went for a bounce play off of 30, and then it broke back down underneath. So looks like GameStop still sleepy. The 30 level not doing any justice for anybody. Very slow grind back in. I did scalp trade Alphabet as well off of VWAP. I mean, the market's actually breaking a little bit here. So this is still underneath VWAP and holding, but when I look at what's going on in the NASDAQ, I feel like this could be the last salvo. Like, if we break out this top, we're just jumping out and not reloading as you're starting to break higher in the overall future. So a little bit of a push. I am expecting that you might see some decent sized numbers. It's the first of the month. Almost no chance that you get that much movement at the close on Friday and then have nothing for imbalances. So I could expect a name or two here that could be decent on the imbalance locator. We'll get the early look in about 8 minutes. But for now, let's head to the desk with Adair.
This part of the show brought to you by American Airs, trading in the USA under the symbol AAIRF and in Canada under the symbol WIFI. This company just announced a knockout punch, a global marketing partnership with the UFC. Airs Tech is dedicated to bridging the gap between technology and wellness. Airs Tech's mission is to provide cutting-edge tech solutions that protect against electromagnetic radiation without disrupting everyday use of technology. This innovative company has seen consistent revenue growth and boasts several high-profile customers like Russell Brand and top UFC athletes. Invest in American Airs today. OTCQB, AAIRF, CSE, WIFI.
All right, yeah, go check that out. All right, so unfortunately Amazon, I mean, it goes up and then it comes right back down. So we take it out there at 50, but then it crashes into 30 again, which is all good, I guess. I mean, what are you supposed to do? We're able to take advantage there of the NASDAQ, and we said this over and over and over again. Like, I really feel that, like, sometimes at the end of the day, you guys have seen, like, I mean, sure, we had AMD. AMD was running on Friday, no doubt about that. So that was a monster move up there, and we actually would rather trade the futures because kind of like reasons like this. I mean, Amazon shuts down and then comes right back in. So that's pretty dangerous there, but now Amazon's going to go. That's okay. If maybe we can flush in this, that would be all good. We just talked about GameStop losing 30. It did, but it bounced off 29.50. So it's already 3:30.
NVIDIA HOD.
Yeah, NVIDIA, there he goes. I mean, shout out to Sam and everybody there that's talking about NVIDIA and just trade the strongest name. Damn you, Amazon, as you come all the way back. That's okay. We'll see if we can make some money here on the TQs and see if that will push back in just a little bit here as well. We just got some more shares up there at 47, 48, now bringing it back into 40s. Bidding 36s and then a lot lower than that. That's 26 right there. So actually let's put a bid down in and around 26 and see if we get filled somewhere around there as we got a decent position on. And then GameStop was the other one that I was talking about. Not doing, I almost want to get back into that Amazon, but not doing too much here, GameStop. It did drop out. So I think 31.50 now. I'll cancel my 33.50 and now just say, all right, we can't be in this forever. And that was talking about prop trading. We have to be flat at the end of every day. So that's going to be part of the reason why we're getting out. Otherwise, I still think the market has a lot more downside room than where we are right now, not just in GameStop, but in the market in general. But again, not being able to hold it overnight is a problem here. So not a problem, that's just the way it works. All right, so I want to check out Apple. I mean, again, great look by Danielle saying, why not just buy NVIDIA right here, right now? I mean, I think that heading into the split, it is going to be a name that's going to be well talked about. And maybe that's where a lot of money's moving out from one into the other. AMD down 2.5% right now, and look what NVIDIA is doing, right? NVIDIA is the complete opposite, double opposite. So from down 3% to up 4.5%, I mean, that's a difference of 7% right there for favored NVIDIA. So great trade there as it's starting to go one more time. Upside here goes NVIDIA, and as Neil mentioned, high of day. And I said, like, hey, maybe we take out all-time highs heading into the close. That's only 1165, so that is well within striking distance right now as NVIDIA starting to march higher here against all the other chip names. I know you were in Micron, you got out of that one.
Yeah, that started to break higher.
I don't know what your Google's doing, but
Google's holding on, mostly because the market's not doing anything. I think the difference is the chips are moving a little bit more than all these other things. So, like, I just showed you like 18.6 on the NASDAQ. Well, as long as that's not breaking, Google's not breaking VWAP. But rest assured, if that happens, 18.6 goes, Google's going to get dragged by it. So I'm not favoring a reload. We have 5 minutes till imbalances. There was one name that I didn't mention this morning that I'm just going to bring up now. This has nothing to do with the big cap tech names that we've been talking about. But remember Disney in that 100 hold last week? This is a weekly chart, by the way, not a daily chart. But Disney on the weekly, forget about the 96 level, which I already like the 96 level. I'm out of the stock and put the money into Netflix. But if we hold this 100 this week, which seems decently likely, I mean, we're already off to a good start. The stock is down 1%, but really it's not that bad compared to some of the other things that pull back. You're still in this nice little pocket. What I'd like to see is a higher low on the weekly breaking this 105, and I think there's going to be a nice trade off the 100 level for Disney. Now, it looks like it's in a pullback, but when you zoom out a little bit further on the weekly chart, what you have is a double bottom. This is literally the double bottom at the pandemic bottom. That's a significant thing. When something makes a double bottom at a level that big, I know it's not a true trend reverse yet, but I like the bounce. And then when it puts in a higher low once, that was a good opportunity there at 95, 96. I don't want to speak for you. I think you got in there. I have no idea. Maybe you added that price. I got out when this thing got to $100. But now that it's bouncing for another higher low, you've also got the 250 period moving average on the weekly out in front of it. If we can hold 105 this week, I'm looking to put something on Disney. Maybe it ends up like a trade idea for one of the next weeks. But if it does get down to 100, I think there's a day trade there as well. Good look for that company today. Maybe not today, but certainly holding that 100 last week. NVIDIA might be at the high of, okay, well, it's not at the all-time high. Might not be at the all-time high, but it just broke a fresh high. So we're now past that 1142. I don't like breakouts this time, but maybe we should just be buying the first available dip in NVIDIA and take a shot in front of that 1142 level. It is looking relatively strong. Thankfully, Google's still holding up at least decently, but wow, you just can't stop NVIDIA. What's weird about this move is it was NVIDIA that did not want to go on Friday. This is the complete opposite of Friday. When everything was rallying like crazy going into the close, Nvidia had the most muted move, and it was everything else that was going crazy. AMD went nuts. Microsoft was arguably the biggest move, I thought, with the biggest imbalance. I could be wrong, but they had the biggest imbalance, that's for sure. And Nvidia got left, and now the money's going back in Nvidia. So this 1142, if we bounce there, probably just going to look for a long on Nvidia. Should have had more than just one long today on it.
Yeah, big shout out to Max, says Pro Day Trader. Yeah, big shout out to Max for sure. Behind us, you may see him walking around at some points. Okay, so, oh yeah, OB joins Max now. So we have two. So congratulations, and if you might have missed it before, now we have two graduated traders on the trading floor. Adding 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to be very, very soon. So congratulations to that, and thanks there, Pro Day Trader, for mentioning Max. In the background, we have a little animation with him right there. Okay, what else? I mean, I'm looking at the charts, not much moving here. When we trade Intel, we normally do it pretty well. We should have traded 30-50 short there on INTC, but again, just a hindsight trade. I mean, some of the stocks, like I said, really, our stop is breaking through 70s there on the Qs. Oh, look at that. That's where VWAP is. You guys can all see that. It's a pretty generic trade for me. If the market just keeps on edging higher, though, we're going to get stopped out. So 30.25 Intel, there's the VWAP trade. And again, you know, just like did AMD, what time is this at? 2:30? I doubt AMD got back to VWAP, but it might have. And if it did, then yeah, not even close, you know. So again, if you're trying to play weakness in the chip spot, you should be looking at Intel, AMD, pretty much everything other than. Or you could look at like SMH as a possibility. We have SOX-L as well. So SMH above VWAP right now. SOX-L, which is triple or double triple, I think was still underneath. Once it loads up, if it does, yeah, so still underneath. So SOX-L, a little bit of a different situation.
The Oxy trade's coming back, by the way.
Oh, the Buffett one?
Yeah. So we talked about this before. Whether you like it or not, or whether you care about it or not, or it's not about following another person, but let's be real. Every single time that Oxy's gotten under $60, it's bounced in the mid-50s, and then we've heard that Warren Buffett has more of the company. It just is what it is. I've traded it once in my personal account, and it was the last time. If you just did it every single time, you're scalping 10, 15, I think at best like 20% moves off that level. So it's testing $60 today with a big pullback in oil. If it gets down to like 54, 55, makes any kind of a bottom on the daily. Like give me one of those wicks at about $55, and I'm just buying it the day after. And I'm holding at least for the 10% move with a stop underneath like 54. So Oxy, oil's down today. There was actually a headline this afternoon, at lunchtime, which was involving potential ceasefire talks. And oil was weak on that, and the market kind of did a bit of a bounce. Google, where my daily chart's not working, just got down to that 172. So if we break this, it's 330 already. If we break 172, I'm looking for the low of the day. But we do not want the imbalances to sort of shake us out. Let's keep in mind the ridiculous move that we saw on Friday, and at 350, anything can happen. You could reverse this pullback that we're seeing. Early looks are non-existent. Pfizer, 1.3, early look buy. NYCB, 1 million, early look sell. Probably the most interesting would be UiPath, with another early look buy imbalance. This had a buy imbalance on the early look Friday, and it was a decent long off of that, though pretty much everything was a good long on Friday when the imbalances hit. So I'll be watching UiPath again. There was a buyer at the close on Friday. If there's another buyer, they got a short float. It's pretty decent. It got beaten up on earnings, and it's been trying to catch a bid. You got a tight consolidation. There might be a trade here on UiPath going into 350. If it comes out a buy, that's bigger than just a simple breakout of the high could work.
All right, Joe, myself, Michael Nos, and Dara on the Market Recap Show. We'll be talking all about what's happening right here in the market. Today we had a big move in the healthcare sector. We had a kind of a flattish move. We talked a little bit about oil right there from Neil, talking about some Oxy. We will go over all of that coming up very, very soon. Look, I'm getting tired. we got to practice later on today. We've got some drills all ready to go, so we'll be getting that going right after here. It was a rainy weekend for our practice, so we got that rained out. But then I was able to golf on Saturday, which was pretty awesome with my kitty. Absolutely loved it, which is like means everything to me, so that's all that matters right there. So that should be exciting. And he says, "Oh wow, Dad, I'm not going to be able to beat you." I said, "Yes, you will, my friend."
Where'd you guys go?
Be a matter of just said 10 yellow 9 holes. And then he told me, he said, "I think I could play 18, but I think I would get hungry." And I said, "Never fear."
They have this.
At the 9 holes, man, you get that turnaround.
They got something else too.
I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up.
He's not old enough.
Yeah, I told him about the cart girl and everything like that rolling through. He better learn at some point. So he will be seeing his dad in full action. Well, it was only 9 holes. We walked.
Oh,
so that,
okay.
Yeah, so that was the whole thing. I told him, look, we're gonna walk, get some exercise. 9 holes, 2,200 yards or something like that. So up and down football field 10 times, 20 times.
Is it faux pas to use a cart on a 9 hole? Because I know I.
No, a lot of people do.
Okay.
I mean.
No, I did.
Most of the people will be, have such as yourself back problems or myself knee problems, things like that, which is why you do it. But now walking is good. He liked it, but he was just telling me, look, I don't think I can do full 18. But I was like, no worries, no worries. I'm a bogey golfer, so handicap 18 to 20, something like that. But I only golf 2 or 3 times a year, so I'd love to get out there a lot more often.
That's what you said that time you guys convinced me to play skins back in the day.
Yeah.
All I heard
you guys suck. I'm just getting better. I'm not even getting better. I'm getting worse.
No, there was I'm not a golfer, but I went out with like Sean and a couple of our buddies, all of whom golf like 10 times as much. I'm like, whatever, we'll play a few skins here or there. I didn't mind losing, but I'm just simply saying there was one of the 4 players in that foursome who was taking mulligans a little too often when we were actually playing for money, which I'm just saying that ain't right, but it is good.
Well, yeah, if you play for money, you should never be taking mulligans.
You should never be doing it, but I'm not.
Have some integrity.
I wasn't here to call anybody out because I wasn't winning any skins anyways because I was the least experienced guy there. So whatever, you take my money regardless. But you know who I'm talking about. But it was a lot of fun. I just enjoy it. It's more about getting out, having a few brews with the buddies for me more than anything else. My back doesn't allow it.
Something like 90% of the golfers can't shoot over 90. It's like 90%.
Can't shoot under 90.
90% shoot over. Yeah. So 10% would shoot under. Yeah. So it's it's a fun game, but you got to play. You got to be like chilled out. You got to you can't worry. You can't get too frustrated because you'll be pissed off all of the time. All right, so there it is right now. Thank you to Danielle. I saw Danielle still in the chat, so thank you, Danielle, for staying through with everybody right now. But it is 3:35. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the day where we won't have too many earnings. We do have GitLab coming through as well. The market did go for a little bit of a dip, duck, dive, and dodge, but it's all the way back up now. So I don't think this market's going to do anything. We did get that short, came back, and we have 2 or 3 outs at the 50-period moving average. But this is just look at all these outs. We're sitting here trading, but you don't have to put on a trade. There is no doubt about that. We should probably, you guys see, look, I just saw in the chat, look at Tesla. I mean, I'm looking at Tesla. It's not doing anything. But right now, we'll look at Adara and see what she's up to at the green screen.
Quite a few names here making some larger moves on the S&P 500, including Waste Management here, WM. This one very much to the downside, down over 4% after announcing it's going to be acquiring Stericycle at a 20% premium for $62 per share in cash. We also have Boeing here to the upside, actually up more than 3%. From what I'm seeing is apparently Reuters reported that the company is actually, there's not going to be executive-facing criminal charges for those fatal crashes in 2018 and 2019. So no charges to be faced for those crashes, according to Reuters. So BA off about 3%. Last but not least, we have a series of oil-related companies, including Chevron here, CVX, to the downside after this OPEC meeting. We also do have, in general, apparently this is the worst day for Brent crude oil prices since February. First time they've been below $80 since February, so lots of weakness in oil in general today, guys.
Just say any kind of news and they get slapped.
Yeah, you look at Boeing, so that headline, you can say that doesn't move the stock. Okay, your executives are not getting they're not going to face any criminal action, they're not going to get indicted. I think that's positive news. But regardless of what you think about it, just note that when any headline drops on Boeing, they tend to be just selling it off. That's, again, right in the middle of the day, on volume, on cue. If we come to the chart here for a second here, Fabian. There we go. Look at the volume spike, and it's to the downside. Now the second, this is where you can have an advantage as a human being trading and not an algorithm. If you do know, like that's not, either that has no business moving the stock or it's definitely not negative news, when it immediately slams back up, you can try and get some kind of long. The key would be at least knowing what it is that hit. Now it's much different when we see bad news on Boeing, we're like, let's just start shorting it because we know it to be bad news. Like bad news is obvious sometimes, but in this case, it's not like it was even bad news and you had an opportunity. I wish Waste Management hadn't done that deal because that's my worst stock of the day. No questions asked. I traded that SRCL today, and it was incredibly weak. We'll see. But with 10 minutes to go, or at least about that, until the imbalances come out here, we just bounced off 172 again on Alphabet. So it's holding out this bottom. If we break 172.20, I'm just going to jump out. Really, it's giving you 50 into this top at 70s, and it's not really giving you follow through yet through 172. So if it breaks 72, we're holding. I'm not reloading down here, but I'm going to get out if it breaks that $20 level. Bala in the chat, could you please share your thoughts on MongoDB? I guess the thing about Mongo, look, I don't trade the stock. When I did the aftermarket show, they were the worst actual earnings name that day. I mean, Dell was bad, but Mongo was certainly a worse name. We always talk about letting things settle down after earnings. Let me pull up my trade ideas because my daily charts have not been cooperating here. But you still haven't made a convincing enough bottom for me on MongoDB. So here's the daily chart for you. There is your monster gap down on earnings. You can make an argument that it's into some pretty interesting support levels when you go back far enough. But I kind of throw that all out the window and say, when you fill in that gap, or if you're going to fill in that gap, back to the 3 minute, because that's the only thing actually showing you all the data you need. So there is your bottom, double bottom, hold a higher low. It's trend down today, so I'm not counting it as holding the higher low until we close above 230, and then suddenly you've got a double bottom with a higher low, and that's a bit of a long setup back into the resistance now looks like 250. I mean, obviously after earnings, it would have been down here at 245. So it's somewhat of a bounce day, but look, it's trend down. I need to see it hold that low and then hold it again probably early tomorrow, at least half a day tomorrow, because as much as it did make a higher low and hold it, it then proceeded to just sell off at every single opportunity when it popped today. Every single pop sold, and then VWAP, VWAP, and then under VWAP can't even get back to it even with the market trying to bounce. I still think you're in that midst of that settling down period on Mongo. It's so easy to look at a gap down in a stock and just see opportunity like, oh, but if it bounces from here, that's a $60 gap. If it does half of it, it's going to be fantastic. And only because we were just talking about Lululemon, I'm going to use it as an example because I happen to know it to be true. If you get yourself in that mentality without looking for reasons to go long, you get a gap down like this and then hunt for opportunities like, oh, there's a gap down, it's going to bounce here. Well, you go long. If you don't have yourself a trade or an out, you could be long Lulu under that principle at 388 and still holding on. Now, that's one thing if you're buying and holding it for 10 years. That's another thing if that's a trade to you because that's out of the money now over 20%. So you just have to be careful with these post-earnings plays when they make that gap fill. Allow it to show you something that you actually like for a long trade. We talked about that with PanW, and that's worked out. But not all of these are the same. Just because it gaps down doesn't mean it's going to ultimately fill that gap right away back to the upside. People say all gaps get filled. When things gap down and they're good stocks, eventually that tends to be true, but that doesn't mean you buy it 2 days after earnings in every situation.
All right, so just quickly here looking, we do have 62.50s on the TQs, and again, taking that profit back in right now as it fades down through. So good trade here. We do have those imbalances coming out, so we're going to have to wait for it. GameStop, I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's going to have the juice. We'll wait to see if an imbalance does come out on that. Let me just double check to see right now. No, so there's really nothing on GME right now for a imbalance. There's AMC with a sell. Uh-oh, there it is. Wow, there goes. Wow, okay. It's a good thing we just looked at it because there goes GameStop. It just broke.
Something happened.
Wow, yeah. Quite aggressively right there, as we were just talking about that. I was just like, oh, $30. So we'll take a 50-cent hit net at the end of the day there on GameStop as it is down. To me, look how much just got sold there. 590,000. All right, so Morgan Stanley thinks that this is market manipulation from Mr. Gill.
Because he
there.
said what his position is.
Yeah, so market manipulation there. I don't think that will last, but I don't know why that makes GameStop go down. That should just add fuel to the fire, but right there, nice downside move for GameStop. That's fine. Look, it's going to be my worst name anyways. It was never, it could have got back there. We were just at one point, I guess $1.50 or so with the money to wind up losing 50 cents on that move. But that's really why you want to put stop orders in. And I'm kind of glad that we were just talking about it right when we saw it, because there it is. It's a nice pullback down right there on GME. So I hope you guys didn't get rinsed on that. But oh, yeah, it's the problem is that I guess if they think it's manipulation, maybe I don't know if they can halt the stock. I don't know what exactly that means. So I think it's really early to try to figure this out. But right there, GameStop is starting to go a little nuts right now, breaking through that $30 level. And look, I mean, hindsight, we could have just got out there, but we knew what we were doing. And I think that that's by far the most important thing when you're trading, is to have your plan and understand the risks associated with those plans.
But imagine imagine if you don't have a stop in that situation. I know we say it every single time, but it really does matter, right? Like the amount that saves you, that's an extra 10% potentially on a position if having a stop versus not having a stop. The other thing that just got said is there's consideration. E-Trade.
There he goes.
Actually, possibly removing Keith Gill from their from trading there. Well, let's go to Adair for the full story.
Yeah, I was just going to deliver this GME story, which is basically Morgan Stanley, which owns E-Trade, is apparently raising some internal concerns about how Keith Gill or Roaring Kitty is influencing GameStop, according to sources reported by the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal also saying, as an extent, that E-Trade is considering removing Keith Gill from the platform. Again, according to sources, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. Just to recap there, that's what I'm seeing with regards to GME, guys.
Yeah, thank you there, Adair. I mean, look, regardless of opinion about it, it moved the stock. That seems a bit weird to me. Like, so you say that you have a position in something which is truthful, and that amounts to manipulation somehow. Okay, is what it is. Like, it's, I don't know. We've seen other people say, I have a position in this stock, and the stock goes where it doesn't. It doesn't happen when I say I'm in something, I'll tell you that much. Thank you very much, SoFi. That's for damn sure. But I just got trailed out. With 5 minutes to go, I did get trailed out on Alphabet here. We said if it bounced off 172, just going to get out 172.20. There's still a chance we get one more shot at VWAP in here, but you're starting to run out of time. There was a small spike to the downside on BlackBerry. I'm just going to get out if this gets back into the 70s. But GameStop is still moving. Is now the SEC. The SEC is going to be investigating some of the call options and some of the trading. So we'll see if there's anything that comes of that. Keep your ear to the ground. It is still trading a little bit lower here. GameStop up 21%, but this was up at the peak, I think almost 90% at one point in the pre-market. It was a monster move. It might have even been up 100% because I feel like I saw it trading above 46 for a little bit there, but that was early in the pre-market. We had almost no chance to get it. Unless you're here before 7 o'clock. That's when you could have had that good long. Everything else has been downward trending on GME. No halt down there, despite it moving from 30 to 27. Oddly enough, it halted to the downside in the morning on a smaller move, but what the heck do I know? That is clearly a smaller move, and it halted down, and it did not halt down here from 30 to 27 even, but sometimes those halt rules, who knows?
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so yeah, we've always sat here and been like, what's up with those halts?
It shouldn't have halted at the open.
We just got some more bids. And again, heading into the close, the best thing to do is just get it out. Like, we just came back into the 50 period again for the TQs. So this name just continues to do absolutely nothing this afternoon. Let's check out Apple just real quick. We haven't looked at anything crypto. I mean, Bitcoin's at 69. It was close to 70 earlier. We could look at Coinbase if that's something. But right now, just trying to find out Apple. Again, kind of in the middle. We did have some good trades. We were long and out, then we were short, and then we lost in and around 193 before we took 193, and then basically punched out at 193 breaking, and that's been the bottom. So feel like, again, pretty important that we stick to the plan. and trade off of key levels. So for tomorrow, it's pretty important that we keep 192, 193 in mind for Apple. So that's going to be something there. All right, so we get short in front of VWAP again. Our average price on this now is 51s, so just right here on the TQQ. We're trying to give it like 20 cents higher right now. We've been getting out. We just got 61s. It just fell back in. So we've been getting out for 15, 20 cents. I was going to give it to 70s there, kind of where VWAP was. And it was sort of coinciding with some of these wicks, and that's kind of where we just got it. So a little bit higher than where we are right now. Let's just dump it and then regroup tomorrow. I mean, honestly, we had a great trade early on Tesla. And then after that, it's been really kind of like uneventful, to be honest.
The thing about that Tesla trade is like just the early move, because once it lost that early support level, you just kind of bugger off. You just bugger off it. Bugger off. It doesn't make sense. You just bugger off, right? Like you take your profit and run. Like once a level is no good anymore, you don't have to trade it, whether you did well or you did poorly on it. Like, that's how you keep the profit on Tesla today, which is
GME is
it's still a great stock, and it's still a great level that it's bouncing off support on the higher time frame. I did just get this reload on. I said, well, maybe we'll get VWAP again on Google. Seconds later, it gets VWAP on Google. So apparently, this market seems to want to run again going into the close. If we bust VWAP out, then I'm just getting out. We had 90 seconds till the imbalances drop. GME is still looking weak in here. So yeah, it's continuing to drop. Of course, if you were just hearing the headline, the SEC will be investigating some options trading in GameStop, E-Trade, possibly removing Keith Gill from their platform. GameStop's still up on the day, but it is continuing to give up the ghost. I'm just going to get on the bid at the low of the day on BlackBerry. But the imbalances in 1 minute should get interesting. I want to still have a look at UiPath. Don't forget it. It bounced decently on a buy imbalance on Friday. There was another early look, 1 million on UiPath. If it comes out, if it were to come out like 2 million or something, I might try along. But if it comes out exactly as expected, I don't touch it.
Yeah, it is funny, like how now they're just trying to, shut down people's accounts. Like it's honestly pretty stupid there. What's been happening with GameStop,
It's silly.
Somebody else like, Kathy Wood or Chamath can come out and talk all he wants about these shit stocks. And this guy takes an actual position in GameStop, and there's a problem with it. So we'll find out more about that as the story goes. But we now only do have 30 more seconds left until these imbalances. So we're getting close to being stopped out, of course, with the futures. But I mean, in just a couple of seconds, everything's going to change. We already have a stop order up to the upside. So if we get blown out, we get blown out. We also have take profit. And by blown out, I mean we'd lose the 20 cents, but at the end of the day, we're well aware of what we're doing right now. So there it is. There's the stops, and it looks like it's probably a buy. I don't know. NASDAQ went higher, but now is fading out a little bit. So let me just take out something at 53 if we can. Ooh, we just missed that bid. There it is. We'll take out a little bit. Apple, that's why. Apple's a buy. That's nice. Robinhood's a sell. So that's going to the downside. New York Community Bank, $3. Okay. Siri, we haven't seen that in a minute. Lyft. As well, Mara is a name that some people like to look at. That's 500, 1,000 to buy. So I don't know what that number is, but it doesn't look like it's significant one way or the other.
Oh, okay. The SPY is apparently 4.2 billion to buy, with the NASDAQ being 400,000. 4.2 billion to the buy side on the SPY. I mean, Apple is 1.1 million, so I guess that's your reason. It's not really doing much for Google. I don't even see, UiPath's not even there. So it was an early look of almost 1 million shares, and now it comes out, it's not even there. So I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. We'll get fortunate, even though it's a buy imbalance. Google comes down a bit. I'm going to take that opportunity. If Apple's a buy and the SPY is a 4.2 to buy, and there's even a little rejection, I'm going to take that on VWAP. GameStop is continuing lower. I'm just getting on the bid of BlackBerry right now. At the end of the day, I think, the next time this happens, and with any luck, there'll be a third time, I just want to be a little bit more aggressive this morning. I really thought it was going to be the $3 level, so I never got into a full position. Like you didn't have to pay for locates on BlackBerry this time. This time they were actually free, and I just shorted the levels that we could get, but I was holding out hope for a move to $3. It just never happened. And really, I should have just loaded up a little bit more here and not scalped out of the trade. Like I was doing scalping in here, taking rebates on this stock in like here when I could have just been building it at 94 and 95. and then I had to reload at 90 to see it come down into 73. That's a missed opportunity because every single time I was getting out in and out there for a rebate, I could have just been holding on to that. And it'll end up being my best stock momentum-wise today, but it could have been a heck of a lot better. And this has been every single time the GameStop goes up, I look for the short on BlackBerry. And one of the reasons, if you're wondering why do that, its short float's only 7%. It's not even double digits anymore. It doesn't have the same meme status that it used to. It just kind of goes up on sympathy. You can pull up costs, and it's probably exactly the same thing. And as GameStop continues to flush, I mean, AMC is going down just because of sympathy as well. You could have had a sympathy short in this, just taken, look, fail breakout at the open through 550, and then pulls right back underneath. That's a good reversal setup. And remember, GameStop halted almost right away off the open. You could have still been short this right in here when GameStop halted, like right at about 511, 512, and then it went into a down halt, and that price you could have gotten when GameStop halted, look what it never really breaks after that. If you punch short AMC when GameStop halts, you're never really out of money the entirety of the day. I happen to be doing this, like right here is when I got short more on BlackBerry. That's when GameStop halted, just punch short 91. It never broke that level. So I love those like little not backward, like those secondary plays. Sometimes you can use GameStop as the futures and then just follow along somewhere else. Nvidia is making a bit of a move this afternoon. Looks like Microsoft is, so just Business Insider saying that Microsoft could be laying off some thousands of workers at Azure. So there's a move to the high of the day on Nvidia. Just quickly going to check to see what Microsoft is doing. Generally speaking, cost cutting can be a good thing. So I was kind of expecting to see a bit of a pop on Microsoft on that headline. Nope, Microsoft is doing absolutely nothing. The story continues to be Nvidia. Only thing strong, NVDA.
NVDA in the futures right now. The futures starting to go back up to the upside a little bit there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought with Azure, they're laying off. I thought it would have been maybe the other way, a little bit weakness, because why are they laying off in their cloud?
Oh, it's only hundreds. It's only hundreds. I thought I heard thousands. That's my bad.
Yeah.
It's hundreds.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, hundreds, thousands. I mean, I just don't like the weakness in the sector, what that's trying to tell everybody. But for right now, it doesn't really matter. We'll look at Microsoft chart. Here goes the futures to the upside. We might be able to get, we're getting out if it breaks 70. We had sort of talked about that. We actually did okay. We got out early on that imbalance, and then all of a sudden now, nice upside move. Yeah, Microsoft, yeah, pretty flat. We talked about this with Danielle on again today. This is the next one to get to all-time highs. So there it goes. Now we'll get stopped out of the queues, and there it goes right back up to the upside there at the end of the day. And, you know, the futures do make its way all the way to VWAP, and look at that. What a boring day, 0.8. Right there today for the futures. So yeah, not much happening right now. It's 3:55. We could get, let's just go back over there and just see. Let's go back over to the futures quickly just to see if, okay, there we go. 3:55 hit, and there was really no change at all. The futures just continue to go to the upside. We can see if there was an imbalance coming through again here. Nikola, TLT, UI path. We sort of talked about, wow, that's below 12 again. So yuck, yuck on that one. IQ Pfizer, we talked about that one. How bad that one's been performing, but really good lately. Starbucks, wow, Starbucks. Talk about a face slapper right there. I mean, that bottom of $72 was incroyable as a bottom right there down near. Wow, what a good level that was. There's been a couple other bottom picks we've talked about before. Please don't tell me ELF is over $200. Wow, okay, could have paid for a lot of cosmetics with that one. Nice call, shout out to the wife, who's clearly a better trader than I. $30 bottom for Intel, that's not coming through anytime soon, so ELF was another one. And then...
higher lows on Ulta today.
Yeah, that was the other one, ULTA. Should have probably been buying that off of their report as well. And we indicated how low they were on the daily chart before earnings, Ulta Beauty. But again, they didn't actually, they rallied nicely and then faded. So Ulta Beauty could still probably be bought at these levels. But like Danielle said, man, Lululemon is getting destroyed. So why go back into some of these names until we see a rebound in them? But there goes the market. So finally, it's starting to go back up to the upside. So after all of this today, the futures will basically end up about 30 points lower than where we opened. Wow. So I guess, well, I mean, if we opened all the way up there, that's we opened up here. So here's 830 right here. So 18,700, and we'll close at 18,650. 30s, or depending on where we close, in just over 3 minutes. So yeah, man, NVIDIA keeps going. We'll trade some AMD tomorrow. AMD 163 and change. Wow, still trying to go back up to the upside. Love to short that one if it got to VWAP, but that's not happening today. And I said NVIDIA had the chance to get to that 1165. Looks like we'll get to 1150, that's for sure, as we go. But there we go. Nice move here, and good closing to the day. It's 358.
Yeah, we just got a couple of minutes to go here. Mara on that, it was only like $500,000. It did make a bit of a bounce, not enough to get green. They got smoked today, no question about it. Lost 70,000 on Bitcoin, and Mara lost a heck of a lot more to the downside. Jared Tweedle mentioning RCL, 52-week high. Remember, CCL had a big day today. Didn't see a specific headline for CCL. Both those names looking strong, but you're not talking about strength unless you're mentioning NVIDIA closing on. Okay, it's not all-time highs, but closing at day's highs if nothing changes in the next couple of minutes. The NASDAQ is green, no question about it. I think it's going to hold green. Just going to get, I don't know why I still have UiPath up. I thought there'd be a trade. There was not. GameStop, despite that news, catching a bit of a bid. It's trying to reclaim the bottom. It'll be interesting listening to how this all plays out, because I'm not calling Fugazi on it, like whatever. You let the regulators do their thing, but it seems kind of nonsensical to me. Like, so what? You say you have a position in something, and you actually have a position in something? What's the big deal there? And last I checked, whatever. If that's somehow violating a rule, I have no idea what's going on there. But it's not just about that. You also apparently have E-Trade trying to kick them off. I think that's going to be a big deal. So we're definitely going to keep our ear to the ground. With less than 1 minute to go, it has not been a fun one. I'll be thankful that at least we're able to, on the momentum side, be close to flat, but still got rinsed on that stupid buyout there today. And, I wanted to mention this. That international paper did go higher and did continue to break out. That could be an interesting deal. I know Danielle said 1,200. I know a lot of people are looking for that 1,200 level. You close above 1150, and we're essentially 1-2 days away from 1,200 on NVIDIA, almost exactly. So with less than 1 minute to go, I don't know if we break 1150 in the next couple of seconds, but seems like a high probability that we're going to see a test of that going into tomorrow. Oh, there was a question about halts in the pre and post market. I forgot to answer. You don't have circuit breaker halts on North American stocks in the pre and post market. Right? If it's going to halt in the post market, it's going to be because there's news or something, but not because of any volatility. If anything, most of the time, there's not a lot of liquidity anyways, but you're not going to have those halt bands. That's why GameStop didn't do any halting until right off the bat at the open. Certainly there were big enough moves in the pre-market and in the post-market for it to happen. So let's drop that countdown. It's a Monday, it's a green day, and thank you for NVIDIA for that, because that's all it was. In 2 and 1, ring it, Adara. Markets close, NASDAQ 0.3, ES kind of flattish. NVIDIA does close, at least by my count here, at pretty much exactly 1150. There's oddly enough an iceberg at 1150 on the bid, holding it right at that level. It led the market, you know it, you love it. It is the best stock in the world. Let's just all acknowledge it. Big shout out as always to Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos, doing a great job. Want to give a big thank you to Michael Nos this morning, our guest, and of course Danielle Shay in the afternoon. Big shout out to Brendan. Big shout out to Adara and Sharif on the midday. Hey, the lesson of the week is squeezes on the day where GameStop's going nuts. I think that was pretty awesome to be able to do that, because then you get a little bit of an experience when you have a stock to be able to look for that is actually squeezing. And also want to give a big shout out and congratulations again to Obi, the most recent graduate on our trading floor here. So shout out to you, Obi. You definitely deserve it. Not a ton in way of earnings today. You've got GitLab, which is probably not going to have a great time, especially with that data breach. And you've got NVIDIA over 1150. You had Bitcoin failing 70,000. You've got a lot to go over. You've got Mr. Nos, you've got Adara, you've got Sean at the desk for the market recap. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Welcome to the Market Recap Show. You are now tuned in to the greatest recap show on YouTube.
Yeah, I'd say so. Why not?
Might be one of the only ones, but it was a great one. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, everyone that stays with the chat, because we talk about this. Traders stay late, and you're going to stay with me today till 4:30. So we have a couple of earnings. I mean, we have BarkBox. We've got, GitLab coming through. So when GitLab does come through, we will bring that to you immediately. But right now, GME is on my mind, as GME right now just chilling out. I thought there was going to be a chance for GameStop to make that move back to the upside here in the after hours, as we'll get a little bit of dried up liquidity coming through. But there's GameStop at the end of the day. Morgan Stanley, eSignal, all those guys, not eSignal, E-Trade, tried to come after Roaring Kitty there, talking about market manipulation. So down goes GameStop at the end of the day. So there it is right there. Nice downside move for GameStop, finishing the day only up 21%. Still not bad though, Adara.
Yeah.
I woke up there and I tweeted something out earlier. And this is the thing. Whenever you're going to see stuff like this, I mean, I just woke up and was like, okay, let's wait to see what happens now. And I tweeted out, hey, what's up, my guy right there? He made a lot of money today. We'll see what happens. But there it is right there. 88% at 7:04. In and out of the shower, was like, wait a second, what are we doing? 43.50 right there for GameStop. Thought it was going to be a big day one way or the other, and it was. It got chopped in half basically to close. I mean, not really chopped in half, but down to $28 right there to close. There goes GameStop. So yeah, a little bit of a run on emotions there today for that name. We just got BarkBox. I just saw that come through as well. We'll talk about GitLab if and when that does come, but there's BarkBox. Uneventful, Adara, down to 137 and not moving at all. So we don't even really need to review it. They just got a sales miss on that. We'll see if anything's happening. Then the other one that we're going to look at is GTLB, GitLab. Looks like someone might have fat-fingered that. Could have asked Danielle about this, but the other thing about GitLab is we've already started to break lower. So again, with a share float of 4% right there, market cap of just 8 billion, a little bit under that. Relative volume pretty high today, down. Actually flat on the day, 0.4. So GitLab, although it's showing red, nice little pullback in from $50. We'll wait to see what does happen there. But we don't have it yet, do we? No. A $15 million buyback there for BarkBox. So let's see if that helps a little bit. No. So that 15 million is not going to do anything to that one as it goes right down to the downside. We do have Nvidia talk, though. I mean, Nvidia was quite the move. No, Adara's doing the rundown. Has nothing to do with me. All right, so there goes Nvidia all the way to the upside right now into the after hours, 1150, and starting to go higher there for Nvidia. But there's the pullback in 1148. Good move at the end of the day. I don't know what sort of starts some of this rally. I mean, it does happen right there at 350, which would indicate a buy imbalance. So as we said, June 10th, we had Danielle on. She talked about the last day to be holding those shares before the split. So again, Nvidia coming through there, big mover into the end of the day. I would say that you'd actually want to maybe fade that move. I hate saying fade Nvidia, but the split we already know about, that doesn't actually change anything as far as stock valuation or what to look for in the stock. It just will take the price down 10 to 1. So doesn't change much, Adara. We've seen a name like Uber get split off as well. Uber's been going to the downside since Elon basically announced that robo-taxi idea. Uber straight to the downside as this name got real frothy up here. PE. Oh yeah, that's right. We don't, some of them, Michael said, sometimes it'll show it over here. There it is, price earning ratio of Uber, still $100. Sorry, $100. 100 PE right there for Uber. So not really a nice name there. Coming back in, trying to bounce off of the 50 period.
GitLab.
We got GitLab?
Yeah.
All right, tell us what GitLab's up to.
Q1 revenue is going to be a beat, 169.2 million versus the estimate of 165.9 million. So that's a nice little $4 million beat. We also did have adjusted EPS. This is also going to be a beat. 3-cent profit versus 4-cent loss expected. So that is an unexpected profit. Nice beat here for GitLab. Looks like traders are reacting appropriately to this positive news. Beat across the board.
Yeah, good one right there. Yeah, GitLab, nice little move to the upside. I'd fade it. We'll get those numbers exactly. Expected move 17% on GitLab. And I don't know if Danielle's still in here or not, but we talk about it missing expected moves and then potentially either fading back in or waiting for a continuation right now. But still, nice day there for GitLab. Obviously, you'd rather see it higher than lower, so let's not hate on this move for GTLB right now. I just wasn't liking it because of the way we moved there. But again, not to shout out Danielle again, but a lot of it is the setup heading into the print. So she also talked about CrowdStrike, which will be on the show tomorrow. And again, this name, much better to buy it down here at 300, because when they miss, how far down does it really want to push? Even if you push into 250 there, which would be not disastrous, but that'd be down about that 15%. So with CrowdStrike, an expected move in and around there, just to look at what GitLab is doing now. Nice upside move for GitLab. And still continuing, Adara. So I know you brought us those numbers, but again, adjusted EPS 3 cents positive, beating an expected negative number of just 4 cents. So, and a beat on sales. So
why not?
let's not hate on it. Let's not hate on it. GitLab, though, could push back in. We'll wait to see if we get a guide. So, I mean, that to me is what we're really looking for. Let's see what happens on a guide potentially for GitLab. BarkBox actually guides down. So, see ya. This dog won't hunt. This is a nice downside. When you hit like a ball and you say like that dog will hunt, it means like it's kind of like a nice shot straight down the front, so it's like easy to find. You know,
This dog is like looking around confused, like what is the ball? I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just check out GameStop quickly here in the after hours, then we'll review some names and we'll go over the market recap here. And then we have Michael Nos, who I can see waiting in the wings. So I don't want to keep him for too long, but there's GME not doing a heck of a lot in the after hours. I'll check out its friend AMC, also not doing anything as I check sort of the news, the notes, nothing coming through on anything right now today. UNG, for some reason, nice move to the upside there today. TLT, XBI, we've been talking about XBI. Let me call up a 10-minute chart. This is also brought to you by Trade Ideas. You can see right here, the platform I'm using is Trade Ideas. Really awesome because they have all this detail right up here. So it's very easy to see what its last change was in 20 days, options volume, total volume, short float, things that you want to look for. Michael's brought to us as well days to cover, a lot of different things that you want to look at here for Trade Ideas and for what's happening. But there's XBI, nice move back up. I really like the biotech spot. We had some nice moves in J&J, Pfizer today. Eli Lilly was a nice mover as well. So XBI, a nice move there. Roaring Kitty just posted his standings. Man, I'm tired of this cat guy. All right, no, just joking around. Let me see what's happening right there. Okay, well, still nothing happening with GME. Well, actually, 29 and change. Let me guess, he's still in right there. Nice push to the upside. Of course he's still in, says my guy. Fabian over there. Let me just check it out. Here's Roaring Kitty. Here is GameStop. All right, it's August 20th. No, I don't see anything new posted here unless he's just on Reddit. So there's the Uno reverse card that he posted this morning or last night, 20 hours ago, 8 o'clock last night. He posted a green Uno reverse card, making everybody think that, hey, we're thinking about taking this the other way, and it looks like GameStop right now, Adara. I don't know if you have any news on what he posted, but nice move up to $29.50 if there's anything coming through on any services there. So I'm just talking about Dan McIsaac here in the chat right there, talking about nothing. Okay.
Nothing on Twitter either that I could see.
Nothing on Twitter. Okay. So nice move to the upside. All right. What's been happening there with USO? Maybe Michael.
Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing Full Tilt. I'm not seeing this myself, but Full Tilt Banana in the chat saying he posted on Reddit, no selling.
Yeah, so go over to Reddit, find out.
I'll try to find this on
Go to
Reddit.
Reddit there. It's
Okay.
not locked up, so we'll see. Again, it doesn't, if that's all that he posted, that's all that he posted. But sometimes he does have, because I don't know if you guys all watched Dumb Money or followed it, he had like a running spreadsheet that he would keep posting, and it would show like long 50 million shares or whatever options were, and then it would just update with sort of his scoreboard, which was his net, sort of the gained P&L. So again, look, this guy's gonna lawyer up. And what just happened there in the not in the aftermarket, but with about 10 minutes to go, very, very interesting. I don't want to talk too much about it, but what?
Yeah, so GME YOLO update, June 3rd, 2024, still in.
Okay, that's the update. So there it is, still in. Honestly, this is the thing. I'm not, and I know Michael's going to want to, probably maybe not even want to talk about this, but I mean, when you're taking a position and then you're posting about it, it's like we had Dave Portnoy do that last week or 2 weeks ago when GME started going. Elon does it. This Chamath guy does it. They all do it. I mean, quite frankly, why should it matter that some guy that wears a bandana that calls himself a cat he should be able to post whatever he wants as well. So I am on the side of being able to say, as a common citizen, what your current positions are. If people want to go and follow you into that, that's fine. What's the difference of Warren Buffett or something announcing his position in Oxy has just went up from 25% to 30%? I mean, he's basically announcing that he's taken 5% more of the company. Now, I know there's going to be filings and everything that goes along with that, but again, let's just talk about being real here. There has to be some kind of advantages to doing that, and whether or not he makes or loses on GameStop, it's some of the other auxiliary trading, like the ones that I would put on to go against his trade or with his trade. We're also the ones adding fuel to that fire. So there's lots of trading that happens here. And there it is. Dan McIsaac says he posts a screenshot of his positions every day after the close of the market. So go find that out. Hit up Dan McIsaac there in the chat. All right, before we go on, a couple minutes to Michael. I just want to talk a little bit here. We did have OPEC come through. You can just keep it on here, actually. OPEC with a nice downside move there. They agreed to extend voluntary and group-wide production cuts until 2025, so that's not going to help. Production cuts should help with the levels, but they had a nice downside break of the 200 period right there. Move as a response to conservative slowing global economic growth demand. So if you're going to get, this is why that's down. If you're going to get slower economic demand globally, that's not great for oil, because oil is what makes those factories hum. And if they're not going to be producing goods, I was going to say in services, but goods, then that's not great for the price of oil and potentially the demand. So we'll hit that down. Ugly candle today, and I think Michael would probably agree with me. This is, I don't know if this is going to be an island out here or not. It looks a little too big to be an island for me, but nice downside move there for oil. USO getting hit there today. The United States Oil Fund, XOP again as well. Downside, downside, downside. The marijuana stocks say puff, puff, pass, as that's down to the 200 period as well. Everything down. Dr. Copper down today, down another 1.3%. But I don't see gold, but there's gold right now. Gold, Barrick Gold had a tick problem at the NYSE, but GLD still holding out higher. We talked about trying to flight to safety possibly for both gold and silver. Silver, I think it was Michael and friends. I think he was talking about JC talked about it. Gold's crazy cousin, that is silver. And today they're kind of both calmed down a little bit there. One up 1%, one up 0.5%. Semis lead the way today as NVIDIA continues higher and higher and higher. Just some basic names. I mean, we could talk more and more about some of the sectors as we have the rundown, but really energy downside, regional banks, the KRE getting hit again down today, 1.74%. Again, on worries of slowdown, worries of possible rate cuts coming, not hikes coming. We'll see about June or not, whether or not that's in play with later on this week and into next week for those June rate cuts. XLE also yucky. Nice downside move there for XLE today, down just a bit. And then some of the names, we did go over this on the main show just at the end of the day as Adair runs them down, but really NVIDIA holding for it with Apple. So despite the NASDAQ just getting positive near the end of the day, which was nice. It was a pretty strong move up as we were short the NASDAQ, which did not work out for us. Apple and NVIDIA and then Meta down there as well. But look at the health technology sector really blasting today. Lilly, J&J. What is this little logo there? Merck, I should have known that. Merck up today as well, 2.2%. Amgen. Danaher was a nice move. Again, nicely done. Damn, Danaher, what's up with that? Nice move there for DHR, ready to go. So, hey, that was a good day today. A lot of fun sectors moving around. And I think a good place to start would be with our guest, and that's Michael Nos. So let's bring him on. It's Trader Talk. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, not too bad. You were on earlier this morning, so it's nice to see you one more time coming through. Wow, that Eli Lilly. Is there anything, I mean, I know that we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but what are we exactly going to do with this Eli Lilly? I'll give you a second to call this up, but like this name just continues to go higher and higher right now. Obviously, we talk about trading on technicals when we have someone like you on, but again, the GLP drug seems to continue its strength, pushing some of these names forward on a macro level. I like the way this stock personally looks right now, taking out all these levels and really holding this 800. So what does it look like to you right now, Eli Lilly? We're now through earnings. They had a good report. Doesn't seem like this wants to stop. Eli Lilly right now holding at $800.
Yeah, I don't to be honest, there's really nothing for me personally to do with something like this. But it's interesting to note you see all these wedges that I drew in. This one I just came up when I did the chart. So I had this one in a long time ago. Gaps through it and then runs. We might be seeing another look here where we gap through this again and then start to run. The monthly chart that's right behind me here
Yep.
is showing 652% gain in 5 years. That's a lot. So I'm certainly not going to bet against this name, but nice breakout, nice continuation, but there's no pattern for me to play off here. I don't really have a logical place that I could put a stop loss.
Don't we have, it is so true as we continue to talk about it, and I know in your world for sure, about the trend. And I mean, just like you said, starting to break higher. Why would we ever fight something like that? I mean, we're seeing Nvidia right there gets a little bit of a pullback, and then it's like, even people in the chat are like, why are you not just buying Nvidia? Like, don't even go long anything else. If the market's gonna go up, we could probably stick with a name like NVDA. You and I have talked over the last little while about the diamonds and the SPY and some potential, maybe some weakness in some of these names. I mean, the diamonds especially, a lot weaker versus the SPY. Did you have any more thoughts on anything about that right now? Because I feel like Intel, UNH, some of these names that are part of the Dow Jones 30, which is the diamonds, continue to be a little bit weaker. We had a bad number from Salesforce as well. So I think if we're looking for shorts, would we be on the same page that maybe it would be the Dow Jones 30 to look instead of this hot NASDAQ?
Yeah, and full disclosure, I have the chart up here, and we were on this show talking about the short that I took right up in this area, and I'm still short that, and actually added a little bit today on this bounce. So I always, if I'm in something, I always want to talk about it soon, and that's more or less how I trade. I want to find where the relative weakness is, and I want to short that, and I want to find out where the relative strength is, and I want to be long that. So when it comes to what's happening, in my opinion, when we see the Dow down pretty significantly here, and then we go to something like the Qs or even the SPY, and they're doing well, it just shows me that it's still a tech trade. It's still, we looked at Eli Lilly with, the Ozempic type plays. Those are still the names to go to for now. That might change, and we're going to look for signs that it is changing. But again, for me, it's just you got to stick with what's working. Big tech is continuing to work. We now have some solar and natural gas and things that are working. And then you just have to stay away from what's not. Now, this bifurcated market, it's not good if you're someone who's just buying and holding ETFs because you can see how choppy they've been recently. But if you're someone like us, and I'd say most people that watch this show, and you're really looking under the hood, it's been a great market where there's both winners and losers, which is fantastic. It's kind of boring when everything's just going up all the time. It's fun because it's profitable, but it's boring because there's really nothing to do. But in this case, I'm noticing a lot of stocks that are doing amazing and stocks that are doing horribly. So, gives me stuff to do anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to, that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I know you mentioned the Dow, and that was a great call. I like that sort of, the frowny face there at the top. We definitely like that. I don't know if you heard when I was talking about energy, and I feel like this is something that is definitely in your wheelhouse for sure. Great candle to the downside. I mean, what do you make of some stuff like this where you get just little, pardon the pun here, but little drips up with oil, and then all of a sudden, the moves down are pretty aggressive. Bang there, bang. Some of these red candles that we see here on the daily, just absolutely destruction. OIH down today, again, another 5%. Was up there on Friday, but a nice pullback in. Does this mean anything to you when you basically cover up the whole month, bring it all the way back, and now take out basically May bottoms right now and starting to make a new trend lower? Obviously, we fought this 50 period, but what are we going to do here? I mean, it's nice to go to the pump and have to pay a little bit less, but for those of us that are invested in energy, I don't feel like it's a good area right now to be buying any of these dips. What's your take here on crude? Maybe there's a play that you're looking for in the space. What's your opinion here, Michael?
Yeah, well, we just talked about a bifurcated market when we talked about the Dow versus the Qs. Seeing the same thing if you look at under the hood of energy. So you were mentioning oil down a fair amount. And if we go to my screen here, this is XLE, had a bad day yesterday, but still holding on to these prior lows. So that means that some things in the energy sector are doing poorly, and oil is correctly found there. Some things that are doing fine. So UNG up 7% today. We were talking about this all in the $15 area. Again, I always want to disclose my positions. I am still long a little bit from around 15. The idea is just that we're seeing this all across the market, and I don't think there's a better chart to show this than taking a look at, say, Berk B.
Right.
And the strength that we're seeing here, and how, this is a nice high tight flag in Berk B, and then we take a look at ARC, and it's almost looks like it's going to break down to new lows. So everywhere you look, you're seeing, some sectors and some industries hot and some cold. It's great for us as short-term traders. The long-term guys are going to have a little bit of problem with this, but I think you have to stay away from oil for now, and then I think you have to focus more into things like natural gas and solar that are working way better.
Good afternoon, Michael. I was just wondering to check on a name that you brought up previously, BE or Bloom Energy, in that energy space. How is that one doing, and do you have any plays on this one or updates on this trade or name?
Still stuck in a range here. The idea behind this one, what I really like about it up here is we have 21% short float and then 3 days to cover. So a pretty significant short float. And again, in the energy class, I'm looking at this as just a very typical bull flag. And I want to see a break and some sort of close above this upper line. So I haven't taken a trade in here, but I do like it. If we look at the kind of monthly chart here behind me, it's, we have this downtrend line. I can actually switch that, make that way easier for you guys to see. Just got to remember, click that button. We have this long downtrend area going on right here. I'm hoping that that bull flag break could cause a break of this downtrend and we could get some continuation, but nothing here yet. It's just one of those with GameStop again going crazy and all these things. I want to bring up my short float scanner and focus on some things that are doing well from that kind of short float area.
Michael, just quickly here before we let you go, thank you for that review there on Bloom Energy. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about MSTR, because you and I often talk about crypto names, and we kind of go over to MicroStrategy because it's so highly levered towards the price of Bitcoin. I mean, this guy raises funds and then takes that money and then just buys more Bitcoin. When you're paying 3, 4, 5% and then Bitcoin can move like that, you do get a little bit of a bump up in the stock. There's a lot of traders that like to swing this name. Are you looking at anything with MSTR? To me, when I'm looking at this daily chart, again, it looks like we kind of are stuck. I mean, we like it when we have big, like sort of capitulated moves like this, where you get a wick bottom and then just blast off there, back up to the upside. Where's earnings? July 30th, so we're well through that right now. Not looking at anything earnings related. Bitcoin hovering around 69,000. Is this just not in an interesting spot right now? I look at it and say, let's pass until maybe we get another headline. But do you have any plays maybe now in crypto? Sometimes we'll, and by the way, there's not a better call. You've probably made better calls in this live on the show, but I'm never going to forget Mara in and around $10. You explained that short float, why you like that, why that was attached to crypto and Bitcoin pricing. Now with the halving through, what are you looking at MSTR, or is there maybe a better play in the cryptoverse for yourself?
And I actually put out a tweet this morning. I think Bitcoin is the best looking chart in the entire market right now.
Okay.
If we go to this MSTR, I think it's a great proxy. It's your very typical cup and handle style, very William O'Neill-esque. Rest in peace, has kind of coined this as you have this big retracement. The retracement gets back to those highs and then puts in a little bit of a bull flag. I'm looking at this. I really, really like the look of Bitcoin in general and most of crypto. It was weird to see that we have Bitcoin up a fair bit today, Ethereum not moving at all. So it seems like it's a crypto kind of play. So I really, really like this monster. I did buy just some Bitcoin today, but I also bought some Coinbase. So the reason I like this Coinbase, and I've talked about it a little bit here, is that not only do you get exposure to the cryptocurrency space, and if that ends up being right, you would imagine this is going to get pulled with it, but you also have a company that is profitable. So if we take a look here, they're making $4 a share. They have $7 billion in cash. So there's some good health under the table. The reason I've kind of moved on from a lot of the crypto miners is because they're lacking that profitability. So there's this drag that happens on them. So for short-term trades, I still think you can do your Maras and your Riots and do okay there. But for me, I want to get some of this Coinbase now that we've broken this downtrend line and see if I can dig in and hold this for a little bit of a long term. And yeah, just some straight Bitcoin I picked up today as well, because I really like that look at that chart. If we get a nice push through this 69, 70,000 on Bitcoin, we could be going for all-time highs, and then through all-time highs would go crazy. And I think, and part of this actually has to do with GameStop. It's scary to look at, but if you actually, I should prepare a chart for you guys maybe for Friday and line them up side by side. When you have these meme stock pumps, you generally have crypto pumps with it. And I think, I don't know if it's like an animal spirits thing or if it's,
Probably.
risk on behavior or what it is, but they line up more often than not.
I mean, you just nailed that. I'm going to talk to you about this on Friday, or Brendan, whoever talks to you, because that Bitcoin call out right there, I've never heard you say this looks like the best chart out there. So now we'll wait to see Bitcoin. I love the confidence, and that's what we got to have, and you have it, and I like to hear about that. I'm assuming no GameStop or AMC trading for you. We've talked about this before.
I tried to take a short on GameStop today when it broke the pre-market low. I missed that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold this thing short overnight.
No.
I do think it's time, and I talked a little bit about this on other platforms, but I think it's time to start splitting the meme stocks up, because AMC has diluted its shareholders like 15x by now. So, that's down like 99%. They're still not making money. They're in a horrible cash position with a whole bunch of debt. Look at GameStop. I don't know what they're going to do to turn the company around, because right now there's no reason for it to exist. Like, you don't need to buy video games at a store, but they've got $2 billion in cash.
What's up with that?
Were slightly profitable last year. And if you look at and I can bring this up, if you look at the returns after the whole meme stock craze, if I go to this monthly chart, it didn't completely fall apart in the way that those other meme stocks did. So, I'm not saying I like this company, and I'm not saying I'm going to buy it right here, but it does seem like even in the meme stock world, we're getting this theme of bifurcation where AMC and BlackBerry, Bed Bath & Beyond is just gone forever. But there's something with GameStop seems to be holding on, and with $2 billion of cash, I don't know, maybe they can turn it into something that makes money.
No, fantastic call. I mean, the GameStop near my house is still open. I don't know. I see people in there, sell little trinkets, but yeah, you know what? My kids are downloading games. So I think you nailed that for sure. All right, Mr. Michael Nos, thank you so much for joining us again here today. The best in the business. Everyone can go find you at Michael Nos CMT. You've got a YouTube page. You've got or do you have a YouTube page? Yeah, you do.
Yep, YouTube,
Instagram.
If you just Google Michael Nos CMT, there's a whole bunch of on all the good socials.
Perfect, all the good socials. Michael Nos, thank you so much for joining us one more time. It's been Trader Talk, and thanks for going over everything. We'll check back with Bitcoin and all of that. Great trading. Thank you, Mr. Michael Nos at Trader Talk. Ciao.
Thank you.
Just hold on, we're going home.
Going home.
All right, almost time to go home. I'm not going home though. I'm going right to the baseball diamond as we get ready to go. Yeah, you got that right, says Bears vs. Bulls. Great guy, Michael Nos. But who else? We have a lot of great people that are watching us right now. And we're going to do a little bit of a roll call. Sticky Note had a bunch of names on You Go Five. Well, not really. They had Tesla on there. We had some GameStop. We had GameStop pretty good. But at the end of the day, we did drop down there. We had about $1.50, $2 in the money off that 28 until that news came in. So I still like GameStop. We'll be in that tomorrow. I feel like what Michael was saying does make a little bit of sense there. And that's why I only have GameStop generally on my watch list, which is the Sticky Note, every single day looking for 20, and we'll do some more work tomorrow, 21, 22. We'll see where it settles in the after hours, possibly trying to find a bid as Roaring Kitty continues to post. Upstop right there. Oh yeah, Ready Player One. I did see some movies about that. Ready Player One, isn't that with like, huh? Book and a movie, right? That's what it is. Okay, good. Thank you so much to everybody that's watching right now. Rivian Millionaire. Ooh, made a lot of money on what today, Rivian Millionaire? I wish I could join you. Hopefully no one will take 40K from the bird feeder. Yeah, don't do that. Yo, Alex K, what's up? Talking obviously there about the Dow, so Dow 40K. Hey, Jersey Sean, I like that name. Right there, Gym Tan Laundry. You know, if you're in Jersey, you might as well. Yeah. Did you ever watch Jersey Shore?
No, but I know what the general premise is.
Yeah, you're too young.
Gyms, they tan.
All right. Yeah, Gym Tan Laundry there. Jason Wolcott killed it on GME today, so we'll go shout out for that one as well. Lost a lot of money today, says Monty G. Hey, I mean, maybe you gave it over there to, who said they made a lot of money again? Oh, Rivian Millionaire. As well. So Monty G, shout out to that. What's up to Ververse Bulls? What's up to Sir Bud right there? Neo Roberts, that's a good one. Neo Roberts. That's hilarious. Red day for me. Hope everyone does well. And look, the one thing I'm going to have to say to everybody that's with us right now, I got a big shout out. Forget about roll call. Big shout out to Adara, one of 3 green traders out of like 20 today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just trying to find.
Ask me if I was green.
Were you green?
No. Why would you ask me that?
Well, you just said. Oh, you're joking.
No, I'm not joking. I'm just playing around with you.
Oh, okay, good. I'm not.
The thing about you, Adara, is like you can ask me anything. We talk about that.
Yeah, we're very.
Yeah. I'm just playing around with you. Don't worry.
I love that. Good times.
You've always said that it's like sarcasm. You're kind of like, I don't know if they're being sarcastic.
It always takes me a moment, and sometimes Sharif will do the most obvious sarcasm with me, but he like does it so well that I still fall for it every time. But yeah, seriously, thank you very much. I appreciate the congratulations. I'm just trying to figure out what works for me and try every single day to get better.
What's up, Jarhead? What's up, Pro Day Trader? What's up to everybody that's right there? Thank you so much to everybody for watching us. Thank you to our special guest, who's always here, basically part of the family. It's Michael Nos from Trade Ideas. Make sure you hit that Trader TV 20. Go over to that website, Trade Ideas, and you can get all the platform that you see live here on the show and everything that Michael is using. And the best part about that is you can subscribe, and then you got like your own personal AI with Michael Nos.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want him to create something, a scanner for you, he there.
Oh, yeah, he's there.
Let's put some more work on Michael.
He likes scanners.
He likes it. What's up, Jarhead and everybody? I just said that. One of our very first viewers. We used to have Traders of the Day on.
Really?
And he was one of the first ones.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. So was Daryl Flinch as well. We had a lot of great traders on in a big day today as we shout out Mr. OB because he had that nice trade there on Friday, pushing him over the top. So, I mean, we always say this all the time, traders stay late. This is why it's very important that we acknowledge that OB puts in a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like not just, hitting trades, not just discussing them on the show, but also putting in effort after. And I think that that's something that all of us need to do a lot more. And is sit there, make sure you study the charts, get better, know your trade, and know what you're doing the next day. So, Adara, thank you so much. It's 4:33. I got to scram there. What are your plans tonight?
I'm getting my nails done, and I have to go to the mall. So I actually do have plans that aren't sleeping tonight, which is exciting for me.
Good. What's the nails there? You get the lacquer.
Oh.
You get the what is it?
I get like the fake ones because my real nails are not a good time. So I do the gel. So we're just filling in
gel.
this.
That's it.
To like switch up the shape, color, everything. Yeah.
Are you one of the ones that sort of knows what color you're going to do before you get there, or you're just kind of like in the moment person?
I like to have an idea, and then I always get there, and I'm like, overwhelmed.
Right.
I have an idea right now. We'll see if I stick with that idea. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining both Adara and I. You can find us all over socials. Make sure you check out that Freedom and Wealth podcast. That's now up as well. Just go to YouTube, Freedom and Wealth. You'll see me and Brendo coming up right there. But for all of us, follow us all at Trader TV Live. Go find that, and it should link to all of our socials at Trader TV Sean and at Trader TV Adara as well. So for everybody here, thank you so much, Fabian, for staying late with us, and thank you to everybody for staying late, especially Michael Nos. So thank you, Adara. Good luck with those nails. We'll check them out tomorrow and see exactly what you had done. So from everybody here at Trader TV Live, we're back tomorrow at 8:30. So rise and shine with us and log in then. Until then, we will see you and have a great evening. Ciao.